left of us. It went for every one of the fans on that side, and they loved it as well.
So Brighton, 2 wins out of 2 to start the season. Both of those wins by 4 goals to 1. Kick us off. Sun is shining on the south coast, and Kaoru Mitoma, the Japanese international, in the blue and white vertical stripes of Brighton, is already on a mazy-daisy dribble down the left-hand side. He's eventually felled, and the free kick has actually been given against him for the challenge he made on the floor as he tried to win the ball back. Big call made by De Zerbi today, Steve. Considering the way they've started the season, 21-year-old Dutchman Bart Verbruggen picked ahead of Jason Steele in goal.
I remember last season when he dropped Robert Sanchez for Steele in goal out of nowhere as well, and it was just a case of, listen, if you're not going to be performing to the levels, then we're going to make changes. But the previous 2 games they have won 4-1, 4-1. Yes, they've conceded 2 goals. He hasn't looked shaky, but it's a big call.
45 seconds in, blue skies above us. So Brighton playing from left to right in this first half in the blue and white stripes. Blue shorts and blue socks. A win, another win today, and they will be back on top of the table. Tottenham, with their 2-0 win at Bournemouth earlier on today in the lunchtime kickoff, are currently top, 7 points ahead of their North London rivals Arsenal on goal difference. Arsenal were held 2-2, as you've probably been hearing in our first commentary game this afternoon. West Ham, the Europa Conference League champions, also unbeaten at the start of this season. Excellent 3-1 win against Chelsea last weekend. Early attacking set piece for them is going to be a long throw from Vladimir Sofal, coming in from the right hand side, flicked on by Zuma, falls to Paquetá, and he can't keep the shot down. It's over the bar, but that's the first chance of the game.
Well, Brighton just caught napping there. Long throw, launched into the box, but they didn't get the first contact. Skidded off the surface past James Milner, and Paquetá there trying to bounce with a late reach, just couldn't get it on target.
Paquetá starting in a slightly different position for West Ham for this one. So we mentioned it in the team news. David Moyes has given Edson Alvarez, the Mexican international, recent signing, his first start in central midfield. So it's 4-3-3 really. Paquetá on the left, Jarrod Bowen on the right hand side, and Michail Antonio through the middle. I'll run you through both teams in full in just a second. The 2 changes for Brighton: Verbruggen's in goal in place of Steele. Evan Ferguson, the 18-year-old Irishman, up front. Julio Enciso picking up a knee injury in training this week, which is going to keep him out for a little while, which is a real blow for Brighton. João Pedro, record signing, on the bench to start this one. Angelo Ogbonna in for the suspended Naif Aguerd for West Ham, and Alvarez into the midfield. Ben Rama is the one to miss out. He is amongst the substitutes. Little volleyed pass to 37-year-old James Milner. First time ball from him down the right. Pascal Gross gives chase. Ogbonna's got it covered, holds on to the ball, down by the corner flag on the left, knocks it into the studs of Pascal Gross, and West Ham get the throw. So 3 minutes in, Brighton 0, West Ham 0. Emerson just dries his hands on his claret and blue West Ham shirt. Continues in the starting left-back position for West Ham. Aaron Cresswell on the bench for them. Souček just side-puts a pass down the left-hand side. Antonio's kept it in, and then is floored by Lewis Dunk, who he felt took the ball there and went shoulder to shoulder with Antonio. I tell you what, that is a clash between 2 big men. The free kick's gone West Ham's way. Right call there from Anthony Taylor, Steve?
Well, obviously he doesn't seem to think so from Lewis Dunk. He's very, very confused with that one, but Antonio is going to be key, isn't he, today? He's going to be vital. The way, that David Moyes sets up his team, they're going to be very astute, disciplined. When Antonio gets here, he's going to need to get the ball and stretch that pitch just like he's done there, drag his team further to Brighton's goal.
To be fair, in the battle of the heavyweights there, Antonio's off balance, and it's an easy one for Dunk to knock him to the floor. But I guess, Steve, as a centre-back, you don't mind doing that to the centre-forward early on. Just give him one.
Give him one, let him know that you're, the early...
Yeah.
Although, can you get away with it nowadays? I mean, it's
not so much.
We're getting shorter and sharper, aren't we?
Set pieces for West Ham, even more dangerous this season, because this fella will take them. James Ward-Prowse. This is from deep. Good 40 yards out on the left-hand side. Deadly right foot. In it comes to the edge of the box, and Anthony Taylor spotted a push or a pull or something going on the edge of the area, so he's given a free kick to Brighton. So they have got the 21-year-old Bart Verbruggen, signed from Anderlecht this summer, in goal. Debut for him for Brighton. James Milner at right back, Estupinian at left back, Webster and Dunk the 2 centre backs, Pascal Gross and Billy Gilmore in central midfield, March and Mitoma the wingers, and Danny Welbeck keeps his place. João Pedro on the bench. So Welbeck and Ferguson a front 2, with Welbeck sort of playing off Ferguson, both fairly central at the moment as Brighton build inside their own half. Dunk to Mitoma, clever little layoff first time to Estupinian, gets it back to Mitoma, and back it comes to dunk again. Danny Welbeck, who has a very good record against West Ham, has scored in Brighton's last 3 home games against them. There's Ferguson dropping deep. Short pass into the feet of Gilmour. Gilmour with the peroxide highlights in the hair at the start of this season. Ball down the left for Mitoma to chase. Sofal's got it covered, and Mitoma a little over-exuberant there. Throws Sofal to the floor. But Anthony Taylor not too worried about the challenge. The ball had gone behind for a goal kick, and that will be West Ham. So Alphonse Areola in goal for them. Sofal, Zuma, Ogbonna and Emerson the back 4. Midfield 3 of Ward-Prowse, Alvarez and Souček, and then Bowen and Paquetá either side of Mikhail Antonio. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Brighton 0, West Ham 0. Plenty of goals to enjoy in the Premier League on Match of the Day tonight, 10:25. BBC One. Could be another one here. Antonio shoots straight at Verbruggen, and the first thing he does, proper action for him in the Brighton goalkeeping jersey, is make a very comfortable save. It's a hit straight at him.
Well, again, the Brighton back 4 caught sleeping. Paquetá picked up the ball. It's a delightful ball in behind Webster. Antonio knows he's only got a split second to get his strike off. He gets it on target. Puts up for Verbruggen. It goes straight down his throat. It's a great start from West Ham. They look really solid. A great, you look at the way that they're set up. Edson Alvarez just sitting there. Ward-Prowse, Souček there, really packing out that midfield, just waiting for Webster or Dunk to make a mistake, and then can they attack at pace?
Edson Alvarez signed from Ajax for £35 million, right in the heart of the West Ham midfield. Backpedaling at the moment, here's Billy Gilmour, 35 yards out in a central position. Good pace on the pass, finds Solly March. March has the ball tied to his left foot, drops a shoulder, lays it back to Gilmour, floats one up towards the far post. It's beyond Mitoma. Mitoma and Sofal both chase. De Zerbi bounces up and down and spins around in frustration on the touchline in front of us. He wanted a better ball from Gilmour there. Brighton have it back. Applause from the home fans, and Estupinian gives it back to Lewis Dunk. And then De Zerbi makes his point here to Solly March, and he's trying to get Solly March a little bit wider, and Webster sees March wide on the right-hand side. Again, March works it onto his left foot, plays in field, and Gilmour comes back to Webster. 7 minutes gone. Brighton 0, West Ham 0. Webster, little pass to James Milner. Milner making his 622nd Premier League appearance this evening. That's only 10 behind Ryan Giggs now.
Incredible from James Milner. I was fortunate enough to play with James Milner at Aston Villa, and what a professional, day in, day out. He was very consistent, superb player.
And here he is doing a fabulous job at Brighton. He's moved into central midfield here. Gilmour ignores him and floats a high ball to the right, but it's over the head of Solly March, and out it goes for a throw-in to West Ham. So Premier League scores, just in case you hadn't heard them today: Bournemouth 0, Tottenham 2 in the lunchtime kickoff. Arsenal held at home against Fulham 2-2. Brentford 1, Palace 1. Palace equalised about 15 minutes from time. Everton bottom of the table, 3 defeats from 3 games, conceded in the 87th minute at home to Wolves. And Manchester United 2-0 down within the first 5 minutes at Old Trafford, but they beat Nottingham Forest by 3-2. And 2 more Premier League commentaries coming your way on 5 Live's Premier League Sunday tomorrow. 2 o'clock, Sheffield United against Manchester City. 4:30, Newcastle Liverpool. Little back heel from Gross into the legs of Ogbonna, who tracked him out to that right hand side for Brighton, and it's gone out for a throw-in for the home team. James Milner lobs it to Gross, who finds March. Gross again can't get to that one. Ward-Prowse clears. Webster battles with Antonio. Solly March nips in and side puts a ball back to Dunk. So I guess a bit like last weekend in West Ham's win over Chelsea, they'll be quite happy actually, Steve, for Brighton to have a lot of the ball. That's what we can expect, can't we?
Yeah, and that's what Brighton will want. They'll be patient on the ball, waiting for little gaps to open, and when they get the ball out wide, can they attack at pace and quality?
Solly March tries to trick his way around Paquetá. The problem was he left the ball behind. Paquetá, little bobbling pass down the left-hand touchline. Webster's in first. Back heel from Milner. Can't find Webster. Antonio suddenly away down the left-hand side. Gets away from Gilmour. Slightly overruns it, but beats Dunk as well. Still Antonio into the box. Onto the right foot. Leaves the ball behind him. He's stretching, trying to control it. Battling. He's still got it somehow. Brighton players all around him, twisting and turning down to the byline, and eventually overruns it. And it goes behind for the goal kick. But that is Mikhail Antonio summed up in a nutshell.
Well, that's what he wants. He wants contact from Webster, first of all, to roll him, and then he's going direct at Dunk. Dunk, lazy defending, sticks out a sloppy foot, and then it's down to Estupiñán, and then covering across. Can he delay the tactic? Yes, he can. Antonio runs out of steam, the ball goes wide. Fantastic defending from Estupiñán, but the two centre halves in Duncan and Webster, you can't get into a wrestling match with Antonio. That's what he wants. He wants to get tight, he wants to roll you, then can he run into space?
Former Brighton midfielder Steve Sidwell with us here at the Amex Stadium. Steve, part of the squad that got Brighton promoted under Chris Hughton back in 2017. Here we are in 2023 playing European football for the first time in their history. Win tonight and they'll be on top of the Premier League. The rise, Steve, has been incredible, hasn't it?
It is incredible. I mean, I come on loan here when I was 19 from Arsenal, playing at the Withdean in Division 2. So, you know, nearly going out of existence to having a hope to play in the Premier League, and now in Europe, it's absolutely fantastic, and all down to the owners as well.
Evan Ferguson has won Brighton a corner. It came from Milner's throw. Ferguson did the classic centre-forward thing, chested it down, waited for a foot to come in, and Brighton have won their first corner of the game. So coming up to 11 minutes played. Brighton 0, West Ham 0. West Ham having never beaten Brighton before in the Premier League, and actually in terms of top flight history in England's top division, they've met each other 16 times, and West Ham have only ever won once, back at Upton Park in March 1983. So Brighton certainly have the better of it historically in terms of top flight football. They've got a corner early on here. Pascal Gross will take it with his right foot. Away swinger, headed away at the near post by Souček. Second header from Bowen, chased by Ward-Prowse. Estupiñán there and clips it on the half volley all the way back to his goalkeeper. And Verbruggen, as you'd expect, the whole point of the signing, Steve, we hear, incredibly good with his feet. So looking forward to seeing what he can do. Yeah,
very comfortable, and that's what you want from this Brighton team. You know, they're going to see plenty of the ball when the centre halves.
Nice ball down the right from Gross, finds Milner. Milner's first cross hit Ogbonna, it came back to him. Now March turns and plays back to Gross, about 35 yards from the West Ham goal on the right. Lewis Dunk striding forward deep into West Ham territory. Wide it goes to Mitoma, and Sofal is backpedaling. Got to be careful here with Mitoma. Jet black hair wide on the left. Back to Estupiñán, deep cross to the far post, nodded down into the box by Milner. No one there for Brighton. Milner controls now on the right. Pass towards Gross, tries to lay it off to March, and March's ball hits Paquetá, and that'll be a throw in for Brighton.
There's a chance there for Pascal Gross just to get him behind. It was a bit of a poor ball from James Milner, but they recycle the ball and get it back.
Here they come again, Brighton. Milner took the throw to March, gets it back. Now Billy Gilmore, the young Scot, right-footed ball. Again, real pace on the pass, finds Dunk. Dunk looking for an option. Gilmore's there to his right, 30 yards out in a central position. Milner spreads the play to the right. Solly March controls, tries to go past Paquetá, beats him on the corner of the area, kills one into the far post and had to be dealt with by Zuma. Zuma with a stooping header, away that goes to the right. Milner trying to perform a bit of a judo move on Paquetá, and then Paquetá very theatrically throws himself to the floor as if he's been caught in the face by Solly March. I'd like to have a look at that on the replay. West Ham get the throw, they don't get the free kick, but that looked like a very delayed reaction, and Paquetá's even intimating there was a possible elbow in there. Oh my goodness me, that is pathetic.
There's a flaying arm, but it's from James Milner, but I think it even hits him on the shoulder. It's nowhere near the face, and he goes down. We do not want to see that.
Steve, I mean, the simulation game, I'm sure it'll still be going on 606 this season. Chris and Robbie will be on the way tonight taking the calls, and that is a standout contender. They'll struggle to beat that this season. That's so bad.
He's blatantly trying to get James Milner a book in there. Blatantly, that's not called for.
Absolutely right, and should be booked for doing that. Webster, wide to March. Back to Milner. I bet David Moyes won't like that either, actually, will he?
You would have thought so. Well, you know, the way that David Moyes goes about his teams and the players that he signs, he won't want to see that.
Brighton on the ball. 14 minutes played, first half. 5 Live and BBC Sounds at the Amex. Still Brighton 0, West Ham 0. Ball is wide to Estupiñán. More reaction from the earlier games will come at half-time here tonight. Then on the full-time whistle, we'll be straight to Chris and Robbie taking your calls tonight on 606. The lines will be open during the second half of this game. Here's Gilmore to Welbeck dropping a bit deeper, so all of this football being played a good 50 yards from the West Ham goal, but all inside the West Ham half. Welbeck to Dunk, across to Webster. West Ham sitting deep. Webster comes tiptoeing forward, finds Milner. Milner sees Dunk in loads of space again. Fairly slow at the moment. Gilmour looks to pick up the pace and make a little dart forward, but doesn't see a way through. Plays back to Welbeck. And the Brighton fans start to clap their hands together in encouragement here. Goes wide to Gross. Gross to Webster. Webster in the inside right channel, rolls it to Gross. Welbeck starts to make the run. Gross drills the diagonal to Estupinian. Controls it nicely inside the box. Little shimmy from him. Lays it back. Gilmour drives it low and drives it wide. Goal kick for West Ham.
Really good play there from Brighton. Nice and patient, calm in possession, just waiting for an opening. It was Matoma that made a darting run inside that left time and space for Estupinian. Sets it back for Billy Gilmour. Fantastic low fizzing strike, just fizzes past Ariola's post.
Yet to score in his senior career, Billy Gilmour, Steve, but I mean, if he carries on playing in this Brighton team regularly, he's going to get some chances. I'm
really pleased to see him get a chance. Casado's obviously gone. Dahoud started the first game of the season in midfield against Luton. Now Billy Gilmour's having a chance. This is a trial period for him. We know he's got bundles of talent. I loved watching him at Chelsea. Got on the ball, made things happen, made the team tick. Can he get back to that form?
22 years old, Billy Gilmour. 7 Premier League starts last season. But this a second consecutive start at the start of this season. Brighton 0, West Ham 0. And again, Brighton possession. Estupinian fires it forward to Welbeck, lays it back to Estupinian, charging forward, hits the pass hard. Ferguson can't control it. It runs away from him and into the arms of Areola, the West Ham goalkeeper, all in green, away to our right. Areola just backs off, stands on about the penalty spot inside his own box, shirt untucked, just ruffled in the breeze. Long throw from him. Milner's got it covered. Now that's one for Verbruggen to control, but he's not under any pressure really. Chests it down very calmly, and he's made the one save in the game so far.
He probably thrives off them back passes. He wants them.
Yeah. Dunk walking forward with the ball at his feet in his bright orange boots. Lewis Dunk making his 419th Brighton appearance at the start of another Premier League season for them. Gilmour back to Webster, across to Dunk, and this time Dunk gets moving, trots up to the halfway line, dummies the release of the right-footed pass, forward to Gilmour. De Zerbi just wants a little bit more, across to Webster. Webster to Milner, on the halfway line it goes back to Dunk. Dunk across to Mitoma. Mitoma picks it up wide on the left. Brilliant skill to get past Sofal. Away from Bowen as well. Looking for the support from Estupinian. Bowen in with a challenge. Down by the byline. West Ham have kept the ball in play. And it's cleared away down the right-hand touchline. And it comes all the way back to Bart Verbruggen. But Roberto De Zerbi enjoyed that.
Excellent there from Jarrod Bowen. That's what he's there for, filling in the gaps. Estupinian's going to be running behind, up and down all day, and that's what he needs to do, track his runners, which he's done there superbly for West Ham.
Gilmour controlling it from the middle of the park for Brighton. Wide it goes to Solly March on the right. 18 minutes played in the first half. Lovely August evening here on the south coast. Blue skies above, some late sunshine. I know Steve drove through some horrendous rain on the way here, but we think that's possibly heading north. We saw it at Arsenal as well this afternoon. Still Brighton 0, West Ham 0, and David Moyes with his arms crossed, having to watch his team doing a lot of defending at the moment, just heads back to his position in the dugout beneath us. Now that pass from Webster intercepted by Ward-Prowse. He's looking for a bit of quality with the outside of his right foot, spoons it slightly. Webster with the outside of his right foot tries something ambitious, gives it to Antonio. Antonio in the box, rolls it across, chance here and a stretch and a goal against the run of play. James Ward-Prowse scores his first ever goal for West Ham. Adam Webster just trying a little bit too much at the back with the outside of his right foot to try and get the ball back to his keeper. He gifted it to Antonio. He took his time and found Ward-Prowse, and Ward-Prowse wasn't going to miss from there. Brighton 0, West Ham 1.
Well, the camera pans on Adam Webster there. It's a mistake from him, but it's the build-up from West Ham, and that's what they want. Ward-Prowse intercepts a poor pass from Webster, then it's a foot race, and it's a bad back pass from Webster. He doesn't get enough on it at all. Antonio just waits for backup, and it's Ward-Prowse, the one who give him the ball down the line, that makes it into the box. Maybe a bit lucky in having a chance, and then ricochets into his path, but he's busting the gut to get into the 6-yard box, and he's well worth that
I could be totally wrong about this, Steve. Roberto De Zerbi wants his team to play all the time, take risks, even in possession at the back. But that one there, that's such a difficult skill to try and play. Bouncing ball, you're off balance with the outside of your right foot. Surely there, you just knock it out, reset and go again, don't you? Yeah,
there's a time and a place to play once and for all. And when the ball gets knocked in behind for a defender and you've got Antonio breathing down your neck, just kick the ball out. Regroup, reshape, and we'll defend there.
Brighton 0, West Ham 1. So James Ward-Prowse with his first ever goal for West Ham. As Steve was saying ahead of the game, what a signing he's already been. 2 assists last week in the win against Chelsea. Gilmour just outside the West Ham box. Clever pass. Welbeck. Ferguson on the turn. Shoots Areola down to his right. Makes a good save. Brighton very nearly with the equaliser.
Fantastic reaction from Brighton and Evan Ferguson. You know what they want to do? They want to link up play, short, sharp passes in and around the box. It's a great swivel from Ferguson to create half a yard in a crowded box. Tries to drag his shot into the far corner. Areola gets down to it.
Paquetá trying to flick a long ball behind him for Antonio to chase. Webster very careful with his back pass. Gives it to Verbruggen. Antonio can't close the keeper down and Brighton can bring it away. Landmark goal for James Ward-Prowse as well. A 50th in the Premier League for him, just 28 years old. Was a fabulous servant for Southampton in the Premier League and could well be for a long time for West Ham as well. They lead by a goal to 0. Brighton immediately on the front foot again, attacking the goal away to our right. March plays it back to Gilmour. Gilmour across to Estupiñán. Little scoop pass from him looking for Mitoma. Hits it on the volley first time and sclaps it wide and goes behind for a goal kick.
Just going back to Ward-Prowse, he's going to be, you can just tell he's going to be a West Ham fans' favourite straight from the word go. He knows the Premier League, the way he's worked right there, just the way that he's put the ball in behind for Antonio to chase, and when he knows that Antonio's got a sniff of getting the ball, he's then busting a gut to get to that 6-yard box to get on the end of it again.
The World Cup warm-ups continue for the rugby union players. Scotland underway in their game against Georgia. They're trailing 3-0 at the moment in the early stages. Live text commentary on the BBC Sport website. That after England lost at home to Fiji today in their final World Cup warm-up by 30 points to 22. That is going to make the next Rugby Union Weekly podcast well worth a listen, available via BBC Sounds. And from a week on Monday, the Rugby Union Weekly will become the Rugby Union Daily. Here's Bowen on the right-hand side. Bowen's cross into the near post. Dunk is there. Tries to clear with his left foot. Straight back to Bowen. Looking for Antonio in the middle. That cross headed away. Welbeck jumps to try and win a header inside his own half. Suddenly West Ham have the bit between their teeth. Sofal's cross in. Milner heads it to the edge of his own box. Ward-Prowse jumps. Gilmour beats him to it. Gilmour and then Gross. Gross just takes his time, assesses his options and plays back to Verbruggen. So yes, from a week on Monday, the Rugby Union Weekly becomes the Rugby Union Daily ahead of the World Cup, which starts a week on Friday. Some game to start it off as well, the host France against New Zealand, but England beaten by Fiji earlier on today. James Milner challenged by Paquetá on the floor. Eventually Anthony Taylor blows the whistle and says that will be a free kick for Brighton, and James Milner's turning and looking for someone to have a go at here, and he chooses the fourth official, Sam Allison, and Brighton take their free kick and they find themselves a goal behind. So they've had all the play, all the ball, but actually West Ham have the goal and the Antonio chance as well. West Ham have had the better chances.
They're the ones asking the questions at the moment, but this Brighton team and the Brighton fans have to stay patient. There's going to be times where West Ham are going to just sit in, make it really, really hard as they're doing now. Down to Brighton to find the gaps, find the quick passes. Can they get the ball out wide and recycle and get some space?
Dunk looking for that quick pass forward. Ward-Prowse comes sliding in, 50-50. Caught Gilmour on the follow through there. Definitely took the ball, Ward-Prowse. His momentum, he couldn't stop it. Gilmour was coming in with the challenge. Brighton complaining. I think the fans complaining more than the players, actually. Steve will have a look at this one. Ward-Prowse does get a yellow card for it, though. We'll have a look on the replay, Steve, and see what you think, because you will have made these challenges a million times.
It's a strong tackle. His feet are on the ground. Billy Gilmour goes into Ward-Prowse after. It's not a yellow card. It's not a yellow card at all. I mean, a lot of the Brighton players rushed to Anthony Taylor there, but it's a great tackle. David
Moyes over to the fourth official, and I think making making that very point. I think Anthony Taylor would be quite relieved if there isn't too much VAR controversy today, considering he was part of the story this week. Mike Dean's revelations, of course, of not sending Anthony Taylor to the screen last season in the Chelsea-Tottenham 2-2 draw, which caused quite a stir. Nothing to do with Anthony Taylor, of course. He's the man out in the middle this afternoon, though, but he was the man out in the middle that day as well. Free kick for Brighton. 25 minutes played in the first half. Central one, difficult to get an angle on it for Gross, so he just rolls it to his left, gets it back from Gilmour, gives it straight back to Gilmour, and Gilmour goes wide to the left to Estupinian. One touch, cross comes in, flicked on by Dunk, headed away by Paquetá, just beyond Milner, and then Gross is there and decides to turn and come all the way back to his goalkeeper. At half-time, in this one on 5 Live and BBC Sounds this evening, you'll be hearing from the Manchester United boss Erik ten Hag after his team's comeback win against Nottingham Forest, and Everton manager Sean Dyche as well. If you missed any of Sports Report, Football Daily podcast, the one for you on the BBC Sounds app. Milner back to Welbeck. Gilmour takes a couple of touches, looking for a pass into the box. March will chase this, just bounces away from him, but he's happy to let that go because that is going to be a Brighton corner. They continue to play, they're playing well, but they find themselves a goal down.
James Milner started that attack, didn't he? Making a darting run on the far side of the pitch, the right back on the far side over by a left wing position.
Corner then from the right, which Pascal Gross will take. The travelling fans, the West Ham fans, all in the claret and blue, behind that goal away to our right. Areola just off his line, swung away from him, headed away by Ogbonna, drops to Estupinian, 25 yards out, immediately closed down by Antonio. Now played to Mitoma. I'm sure he'll fancy a run at Antonio here. Just stands off him, whips an early crossing with his right foot, great delivery, and Souček heads it away, and then Souček turns as if to say, didn't get a call, didn't know what was going on there.
It was free, he was on his own. If he'd have had a shout to leave it, he could have just let it go past and give his team a breather.
Another corner for Brighton. Brighton 0, West Ham 1. David Moyes, having never beaten Brighton before as a Premier League manager, 4 draws and 4 defeats up to this point. Gross, short one to March, back to Gross on the right, driven cross into the box, touch from Ferguson, shoots on the spin, might come back to March here, lines up a left-footed drive, that's blocked at close range. Ball goes high in the air, lovely control from Billy Gilmour to bring that down as it was dropping from on high, and eventually the ball goes out for another Brighton throw midway inside the West Ham half on the right. Taken by Gross, chested down by Gilmour, and Gilmour just rolls the ball across the halfway line towards Lewis Dunk. Here's Estupinian. Estupinian, head up all the time, drills a diagonal onto the left boot of March. March to Milner. Milner back to Gilmour. Stops it with the studs of his right boot. Thought about a quick threaded pass through the channels. Instead goes to Milner. Milner to Webster. Now Dunk. Just inside the West Ham half. And West Ham keep their shape and keep Brighton at bay for the time being. Gross to Ferguson. Ferguson getting his first start of the season for Brighton. Now Pascal Gross again, diagonal ball into the penalty area. Estupinian goes down. Sofal leant over him to win the header. Anthony Taylor had a good view of that and decided there wasn't anything wrong with it. Roberto De Zerbi, every time Brighton don't go forward quickly, he turns and goes absolutely bananas, talking to whoever it is behind him on the Brighton bench. Here we go again. Brighton with Mitoma. Into the penalty area, heads for the byline on the left, cross comes in, might fall for Gilmour, deflected shot and away it goes. West Ham with some desperate defending, keeping Brighton out, throwing for Brighton on the right. Taken quickly by March. Brighton fans sense something coming here for the home team. This might break for them. Solly March into the penalty area, lays it off. Cross comes in from Gilmour and Ferguson tries something very ambitious. Ball behind him. That's the old scorpion kick that's come off the back heel, looped up high and ended up on the roof of the net. Steve Sidwell.
I don't think that ball was for him, was it? I think it was probably for Mitoma at the far post, but De Zerbi going crazy there because he knows when the ball gets played into the midfield areas, whether it's going to be Gilmour, Gross, they need to turn very quickly. They're getting shut down, there's limited space, but West Ham are defending for their lives at the moment, putting their bodies on the line. It's great defending from West Ham. Sufal we see there, a header there but against the Estupinian, that was a fair header.
I think you could actually hear De Zerbi there, couldn't you? Actually, it came across on our microphones here because we sit quite close. We're not that far behind the Brighton bench, but you could hear him imploring his team to better efforts. They're behind at the moment, 2 wins out of 2 so far this season, but West Ham have started the season well too. They've got a new player on the way as well, another signing from Ajax on the way. Deal's been agreed, having the medical this weekend. Mohamed Kudus, who scored a hat-trick in European football earlier this week, is signed for just under £40 million as an initial fee, and they're also talking about potentially the Sevilla centre-forward, the Moroccan Youssouf En-Nesyri, coming to West Ham as well. So a couple of weeks ago, I think West Ham fans slightly concerned about the lack of transfer activity. Things have changed a bit, and they're one up at Brighton at the moment. Welbeck chases a ball away to the left, gets it back to Matoma. Matoma thought about the cross, no one in there for him. Lays it off to Estupiñán, back to Welbeck, edge of the box, into the feet of Ferguson. Playing in tight spaces here. Milner across to Gross. Gross's low ball. Ferguson tries to control it. Well dealt with by Zuma, who just stepped in, took it off his toe and clears with his right foot. And Brighton will have to start again from inside their own half. Webster turns away from Antonio. 15 minutes remaining in the first half. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. And if you have just tuned in, West Ham lead against the run of play. James Ward-Prowse has scored his first goal for the club after Adam Webster made a mistake at the back, gave it to Antonio. Antonio ran on and found Ward-Prowse with the cross, although Ward-Prowse did have to have a couple of goes at it before he could stick the ball in the back of the net. Here's Webster, 7 or 8 yards inside that West Ham half. Left-footed pass across to Gross. Gross looking for Ferguson. Ferguson challenged by Alvarez. Great defending from the Mexican. Then Paquetá is just clipped by James Milner. Goes down, wins the free kick for West Ham. Brighton 0, West Ham 1.
Yep, clever play there from Paquetá. Knows what he's doing, just waiting for a contact so he can go down. Just reset, give his team 10-15 seconds. But they know what they're doing, West Ham. They're in this shape, they're being disciplined. It's down to Brighton to pick and choose when they go in. Every pass changes the picture, you know, when it goes, whether it's a 5-yard pass or a diagonal pass, it changes the picture on that field, and you're just waiting for one West Ham player to switch off, just leave half a yard. That's all that's needed now to thread a ball through and change the game.
Milner just runs into Emerson there. This is inside the Brighton half. Milner in his right back position. Emerson got to the ball first, could only lob it up in the air, and Milner sort of ran into him, and Emerson's gone down. Milner's actually hurt himself as well. He's holding his left hip, but that will be a free kick for West Ham. The only yellow card in the game so far for James Ward-Prowse for the tackle on Billy Gilmour, where he very cleanly got the ball and then his momentum took him on through. Mark Chapman will be pleased to know the new yellow highlight has got its first use for the yellow card as well, Stephen. That looks absolutely magnificent on the notes here.
They are fresh highlights.
Oh, they are fresh, yeah. Delighted with those. Free kick West Ham. Brighton fans booing and jeering Emerson. They think he's made a real meal of that. But again, this is real danger, isn't it? Because you know who, James Ward-Prowse, ball in his hands, and every free kick, every set piece is a real sort of showpiece event for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure it's been something that Brighton would have worked on all week. Set pieces, don't give them away first of all. If they do, this is what we need to do. This is our lineup. Can we get first contact? Can we get second contact? And when we clear our lines, come up together.
Free kick from wide on the left. Just beyond the level of the penalty. It's all set for a vicious in-swinger. In it comes, maybe too close to the keeper. Verbruggen's brave. Comes out and punches clear. Souček is down. Was caught by the goalkeeper. The flag was up as the ball came into the box, so I think there may have been an offside there, but now West Ham players very quickly waving the medical staff onto the field because Souček was caught as he bravely went for the header. Verbruggen ran into him, and we need to check that Thomas Souček is okay. You could see in terms of the delivery, Steve, what was coming there. It was set up perfectly for Ward-Prowse.
It was a delicious ball that was whipped in there, and it was two committed players, Verbruggen and Souček there. There was neither one of them was going to pull out. It was a fair contest. I think they both got there literally at the exact same time, wasn't it? And Verbruggen just got the punch before and absolutely clattered Souček, who's gone down. The Brighton players immediately, Duncan Webster waving the medical team on.
Yeah, two of the medical staff around Thomas Souček now. He's definitely moving, and I've seen him talking as well, but quite rightly they're taking every single care with him. So he's just lying down on his own, and the rest of the players have come away and are coming for some refreshment on the side of the field. In the rugby, Georgia 6-0 up on Scotland. World Cup warm-up games today. England beaten 30 points to 22 by Fiji. So while we wait for Thomas Souček to recover, here's your other football headlines for you so far today away from the Premier League. Leicester will end the weekend top of the Championship thanks to McAteer's 2 goals at Rotherham to keep their 100% start to the season going, so bouncing back well from their relegation. Leeds claimed their first win of the season to end Ipswich's winning start to the campaign. 4-3 they won it at Portman Road in the end. and Norwich up to second in the table after a 4-0 win at Huddersfield. Chris Sutton and I very much looking forward to the Ipswich-Norwich derbies, which are coming around again this season. In League One, Oxford beat Charlton by 2-1 to go top. Exeter went second with a late win over Reading, and MK Dons top in League Two. They beat bottom of the table Doncaster Rovers, and Gillingham's 100% start of the season was brought to an end, a 3-0 home defeat to Colchester. All the classified scores available for you on the BBC Sport website, and if you missed any of Sports Report earlier on today, that will be your Football Daily podcast there for you later tonight and first thing tomorrow morning on the BBC Sounds app. If you haven't got the BBC Sounds app by now, then what on earth are you doing? Make sure you get it on your device. You can get the Football Daily, the Rugby Union Weekly I've already mentioned. In terms of the football podcast, so many of them, our very own Fantasy 606 podcast, which comes out every Thursday if you're a fantasy football fan. The Players channel is one to subscribe to. You get the Footballers Football podcast with Michael Antonio, who's playing here today, and Callum Wilson, and the new Football First podcast as well with Jermaine Defoe and Troy Deeney. Right, West Ham are going to have to make a change. Thomas Souček is unable to continue, and it's going to change the shape as well, Steve, because Saeed Benrahma is coming on. So it was Alvarez in for Benrahma and West Ham going 4-3-3. Thomas Souček having been clattered fairly, you have to say. It was just an accidental collision between him and the Brighton goalkeeper, but he is coming off, and it is now Benrahma who will come on.
Well, we'll see how that changes the formation, but Souček there just walking past us with the medical staff laughing and giggling. I think he wants to stay on, typical player.
Yeah, here's Mitoma. Oh, great run from Mitoma, slicing through the West Ham defence, and the ball is cleared away by Alvarez from the edge of the penalty area. 36 minutes played in the first half here. Brighton 0, West Ham 1. 5 minutes past 6 this evening. I can tell you in the 100, the eliminator, the men's game, the Manchester Originals, Mark Chapman's Manchester Originals, have won the toss, and they will bowl against the Southern Brave, and they are due to start at 6:30 this evening. They've had a wet day today. The winners will face the Oval Invincibles in the final at Lord's tomorrow, which will form part of Five Live's Premier League Sunday. Will be across that, and ball-by-ball commentary will be on Radio 5 Sports Extra. So Benrahma's still waiting to come on here. West Ham are down to 10 men temporarily. Thomas Souček has gone off, and here come Brighton again. They've got 8 minutes left, plus a bit of added time at the end of the first half to try and find themselves an equaliser and get back in this game. Gilmour and his Stupinian exchange passes. Familiar pattern. Every single outfield player deep inside West Ham territory. Brighton trying to find a way through. Gross. Slow pass out to Milner on the right. Back to Gross. Plays it back to Milner. Milner, a firmer ball, but back into his own half. And Verbruggen, well out of his penalty area, steps forward and just lays it off to Adam Webster. Webster to his centre-back partner, Dunk. Dunk comes walking forward. West Ham have no interest in pressing the ball there. They're just going to let Brighton come at them, try and force them wide here, not let them through the gaps in the middle. Webster out to Milner on the right. Solly March has moved infield a little. Milner to Gross. Webster again. Webster's got Paquetá in front of him. Milner still in space on the right. Receives it. March makes a run into space down by the byline. Doesn't cross first time. Milner's there for him. He does cross first time, and the ball is blocked by Emerson and behind for a Brighton corner, which means West Ham can now make the change. Very patient stuff from Brighton.
Very patient. It's going to be really important now for Benrahma to get into this game, make an impact straight away. I don't mean attacking, even just defensively. Souček, we know what he's about. He just gets there. He gets the defensive duties. Now it's Benrahma's turn. Can he fit in there and get into this game as soon as possible?
Steve Sidwell with us here. David Moyes and Kevin Nolan desperately trying to get the instructions onto the field. David Moyes is giving it the thumbs up. He's happy, and immediately West Ham have to defend this set piece. Away to our right. Gross. Ball into the near post, easily headed away by Paquetá. Solly March doesn't see an option on, so side puts it all the way back into his own half. Verbruggen, low ball first time, Stupinian can't control. Antonio goes sliding in to try and win it. Mitoma gets there first, and Mitoma is on the move for Brighton. The home fans love this. Finds Ferguson on the edge of the box, back to Stupinian. Stupinian's cross in towards March, throws himself at it. Challenge on Alvarez is given as a foul. March was going for the header, was trying to sort of throw himself at a diving header, and Alvarez, great defending, got his body in the way, and that's a free kick for West Ham.
Really good from Alvarez. That's why he's there.
It's Emerson, beg your pardon.
Emerson accepting defensive responsibilities. Solly March there, he's on fine form at the moment, isn't he? 3 goals this season, looking to get his fourth. I think he got the first, the header against Luton, first game of the season, from a very, very similar position.
Really good interview actually, Steve, with him in the Daily Telegraph ahead of this game today, talking about the impact that Roberto De Zerbi has had. And there was a quote put to him that Solly March had said at the start of last season, where he said, no, we can't talk about top 4 at Brighton, that just isn't realistic. And then saying at the start of this season, well, actually, De Zerbi's given them the belief that actually that is possible. They believe they can beat any team that they come up against, and that is what De Zerbi has done. Yeah,
that is the mindset now, not just as individuals, as a collective unit as well.
Billy Gilmore 25 yards out, plays it across to Pascal Gross. He shoots, low swerving one, and Areola saves. The ball spills, but he's able to pounce on it quickly, and Ferguson comes homing in to try and stick away a rebound, but Areola safely onto it before that. So Areola with the ball in his hands, 5 minutes remaining in the first half. We definitely will have a bit of added time after the injury to Thomas Souček, but as Steve said, took a hefty whack. Medical staff decided he couldn't continue. I'm sure wisely, if there's any danger of a head injury there, and Souček was smiling and able to take himself off the field. Emerson has won West Ham a free kick inside their own half. Brighton fans complaining that West Ham taking a long time over the taking of the free kick, and this is what the referees are trying to be hot on. And Anthony Taylor with a shrill blast on the whistle, and David Moyes is saying get on with it, we don't want yellow cards here, get on with it. So Ogbonna does get on with it and gives it a right old hoof with his left foot down the middle of the field. Webster heads it away from Antonio. Ben Rama's first touch to Paquetá. Different role for Paquetá today here. Ben Rama wide on the left. Little 1-2 with Paquetá again. Goes back to Paquetá. Looks for Ben Rama. Clever football between the pair of them. Welbeck tries to win it for Brighton. Ferguson in with the challenge. He is then fouled by Alvarez, and that'll be a free kick for Brighton midway inside their own half. Brighton 0, West Ham 1. James Ward-Prowse with the goal.
That formation change there. Ben Rama's come out on this left-hand side of the front three with Antonio and Bowen on the right-hand side, and Paquetá's just got into where Souček was into that midfield 3.
Here's Lewis Dunk on the ball for Brighton. Little Billy Gilmore to his right. Now Webster back to Dunk. Central position, about 50 yards out. Allowed to bring it forward even further. There's no pass for him there. Stops to his right, finds Pascal Gross. Gross to Gilmore. Gilmore looks up, sees Estupinian making the run. Estupinian volley cross into the area. Slice clearance by Alvarez, straight up into the air. Areola's up, spills it, very nearly goes over the line. He's lucky, he's able to turn and grab it just before it does.
Well, you don't want to be conceding just before half-time. Areola, he has been busy there, just a lack of concentration. Is it very, very lucky that a Brighton player just didn't pounce on it? He dropped it inside his 6-yard box.
That would have been a horror show. Brighton win the ball on the halfway line. Billy Gilmore's roared on, plays it to his left. Estupinian takes it inside Bowen. Bowen has not been able to play any attacking football at all in this first half for West Ham. Mainly concerned with defensive duties. Solly March has it for Brighton on the right. Shadowed here by Emerson. Ben Rama's back there helping as well. March has come all the way across to the middle of the pitch. Played it to Lewis Dunk. Lewis Dunk tries to slide it through to Matoma. Little deflection on the pass. Matoma still nearly gets onto it. Goodness me, coolness from Alvarez. Under pressure inside his own box. Beats 2 men. Plays it to his right. Sofal clears. That's deflected. And Estupinian heads it backwards. Becomes a 50-50, which Webster wins. Volleys it forwards. Alvarez with the header. Comes over the back of Welbeck to win it. Ward-Prowse on the ball, turns and clears. They know Antonio is going to be there, and Antonio does a great job holding it up for West Ham. That's what he's there for, and suddenly Ben Rama is released by the long diagonal away to the left-hand side. It's one-on-one against Milner. Ben Rama, edge of the box, support on the outside from Emerson. Ball goes skipping away from him. There's the cutback into the legs of Milner and behind for a West Ham corner.
That is the West Ham game plan there to a T. Get the ball into Antonio. Can it stick with quality? He sets it off to Ward-Prowse. Big sweeping diagonal to Ben Rama, and then can you attack at pace? They get a corner out of it. That is West Ham there to a T this afternoon. Fantastic.
2 minutes remaining of the 45 in this first half. Added time still to come as well. West Ham leading by a 1-0. James Ward-Prowse to take this corner from the left. Delivery into the near post. That was heading in. Adam Webster covers it at the near post and heads it away. But again, the quality of the strike is such. Verbruggen suddenly had a worry on there. But that's what Webster was there for. Had it covered and nods it away. I think he's taken 3, I think, set pieces first half. James Ward-Prowse, all of them absolutely on the money. It's what you expect from him. Here he goes again, a fourth attempt to try and do something. Scored the goal as well today. In it comes to the near post again, looking for the flick on. Headed behind for another corner.
You can see what he's trying to do. Whip it at pace just on that near post. And I think is it Alvarez there,
yeah,
just to get the slightest touch, just goal bound. There's so many bodies there to ricochet into the back of the net.
If you're a West Ham attacker, knowing that sort of quality is coming in the box all the time, you're rubbing your hands together. This one goes deeper. Verbruggen well claimed. Tall goalkeeper, the young Dutchman, all in black for Brighton, sprints out to the edge of his box and skids a throw out to Estupinian. Fourth official, Sam Allison, steps forward, about to tell us how much added time we've got at the end of the first half. West Ham leading Brighton by a goal to nil. 4 minutes of added time. James Milner, space to work with. Cross comes in. Danny Welbeck tries to attack it. Headed away to the edge of the box. Second header won by a West Ham player. Solly March is able to pick up the bits and pieces. March in a central position. Milner hanging wide on the right. Gilmour with a clever ball through the middle. Welbeck, was he caught there by Alvarez? Free kick for Brighton, who would love to have James Ward-Prowse in their team for this one. 25 yards out, central position. Second yellow card of the game. Out comes the highlighter again.
Quick feet there from Welbeck. He was caught there from Alvarez. No question about that, and it is in a dangerous position, this. There's going to be a few over this ball. I know Lewis Dunk fancies himself from free kicks, as does Solly March and Pascal Gross. They do possess quality in this position, Brighton.
So we're into added time at the end of the first half. Danny Welbeck caught by Edson Alvarez. Free kick, Brighton. Slap bang in the middle of the field, just on the edge of the D. West Ham organising the wall at the moment. And Brighton's 100% start to this season. 2 wins out of 2, under threat, but still plenty of football to be played. Lines will be open for 606 shortly. Number to dial if you've not done it before, 08085 909 693. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton taking the calls tonight. They'll take your texts as well on 85058, taking the calls through until 8:30. Sarah Mulkerrins will take over at that point, live in Budapest, with the 4x100 metre relays from the World Athletics Championship. Coverage has already started of today's action on BBC One, if you want to follow any of that. Free kick then for Brighton. Dunk is there, as Steve said. March is there. Welbeck's there. And James Milner is lurking a little deeper.
He does possess the quality on this, Lewis Dunk. He's got that sort of inside the foot, Ronaldo sort of wobble ball.
Solly March is going to hit it with his left foot. Almost got that round the wall. It was a leap there. Alvarez got the header on it, and he's gone down holding his head, so we're going to get a delay before Brighton can take the corner. Solly March, the in-form man. He was the one who hit the strike. Wasn't a bad strike either. Let's just have a look on the replay. It's on target, I think, Steve.
It's on target. I think Ariola would have saved that pretty comfortably.
Alvarez is okay. 90 seconds remaining in the first half. Mark Chapman back with you shortly. You'll be hearing from Eric Ten Hag and Sean Dyche amongst others after today's games at 3 o'clock in the Premier League. Pascal Gross. Now that's not the best from Gross. Easy header away for Paquetá. Goes out for a throw-in to Brighton. Seconds ticking down at the end of this first half. Solly March takes it quickly. Back to Gilmour. Gilmour runs into the West Ham half. Space for Mitoma on the left. Controls the ball. Drops a shoulder. Bowen's there. Mitoma plays it back to Welbeck. Welbeck, no, gets the pass all wrong. Looking for Milner, it's behind him. And that's going to go out for a throw into West Ham, who are just going to try and see this out until half-time. If they win here today, having beaten Chelsea last weekend, and start with 2 wins out of 3, considering the problems they had in the Premier League last season, Steve, that is going to be some start for them. Yeah,
a fantastic start. A lot of criticism thrown at West Ham was there last season, but this season they've started well on the front foot, and if they get anything from this game today, they've done marvellous.
Brighton looking to exploit another opportunity late in the first half. Quick throw. Danny Welbeck has won a corner. Looking at the stopwatch here, 20 seconds to play. So this will be the last chance in the first half for the home team. Brighton 0, West Ham 1. Fans already making their way to the concourses for half-time refreshment. One gentleman splendidly attired this afternoon. Steve spotted him before the game. Shiny, spangly, silvery trousers, waistcoat on, top hat with a seagull perched on top of it. Corner for Brighton. Solly March with his left foot to the far post. Headed away by Antonio. Estupinian is able to control. Immediately crosses back in beyond everyone. Paquetá takes a touch, volleys it away with his left foot, and there goes the half-time whistle. So West Ham lead Brighton by 1-0, Steve Sidwell. As we thought, Brighton have had all the possession, not really created any clear-cut chances, and actually gifted West Ham the goal, didn't they?
Well, they've gifted West Ham the goal, and they've not created chances just because of the game plan, the mindset, the way that the players have bought into this West Ham line-up, really, of really just sort of being disciplined and frustrating the Brighton team. But lots to do in the second half of Brighton.
Brighton 0, West Ham 1 at half-time.
Thank you very much. Back with Ali and Steve for the second half. 606 follows them as well. 08085 909 693. In the Premier League today, in the early kick-off, Bournemouth 0, Tottenham 2. And then at 3 o'clock, Arsenal 2, Fulham 2. Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 1. Everton 0, Wolves 1. And Manchester United 3, Nottingham Forest 2. In the Championship, leaders Leicester maintained their 100% record with a 2-1 win at Rotherham. Leeds won a 7-goal thriller at Ipswich. It finished 4-3. Norwich had the most comfortable win of the afternoon. They beat Huddersfield 4-0. Late goal for Birmingham gave them a 2-1 win over Plymouth. Oxford are top of League One after beating Charlton 2-1. Colchester are off the bottom of League Two by winning 3-0 at previously unbeaten Gillingham. In the latest Rugby Union World Cup warm-up match, England were beaten by Fiji, and we'll go to Twickenham shortly. They've had the toss at the men's eliminator in the Oval, but on the screen I was looking at, Adam Mountford, there are some umbrellas up.
Yes, it's been a really frustrating day. We saw the women's game abandoned, so unfortunately for Welsh Fire, their tournament came to an end, including our very own Alex Hartley, not the end to her career she wanted. But the covers are coming off actually now at the moment, Mark. And you say we have had that toss, the Originals winning it. They put Southern Brave into bat. 3 changes for Manchester: Josh Little, Richard Gleeson and Max Holden in for Josh Tongue, who also misses England's T20s against New Zealand with injury. And out the side also Ashton Turner and Tom Hartley. For Brave, they have Craig Overton in for Weatherly, so that's Jamie Overton for your brother Craig. We are hoping for that full game. There are those dark clouds around. If we don't manage 25 balls aside, as was the case in the women's game, then Manchester will progress to play Oval in the final as they finish higher in the table. Covers coming off, fingers crossed, Mark. We start at 6:30.
Get some reaction from Goodison, where Wolves beat Everton, and from Old Trafford, where Manchester United beat Nottingham Forest 3-2. And we'll go to Twickenham to talk about another defeat for England men's rugby union side after Richard Foster in the news at 22 minutes past 6.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The Conservative MP Nadine Dorries has resigned her seat in the House of Commons. She's also made a scathing attack on the Prime Minister, accusing Rishi Sunak of demeaning his office by opening the gates to whip up a public frenzy against her. She's been angry that she didn't get a seat in the House of Lords as part of Boris Johnson's resignation honours list. It means there'll be a by-election in her constituency of Mid-Bedfordshire. The Spanish women's team's coaching staff, apart from the manager Jorge Vilda, have all resigned over the Luis Rubiales row. The country's men's coach, Luis de la Fuente, has described Rubiales' behaviour as wrong over his unsolicited kiss of Jenny Hermoso. He says it was consensual and has refused to resign. The sports journalist Alex Ebertheta isn't surprised by that.
Luis Rubiales has been creating a toxic work environment for a very long time now. Essentially what happened was there was a camera on him and he was himself. And you could see it in Jenny Hermoso's statement as well. She mentioned that this is just one more thing to add to the very long list of what the players have been living daily.
One of the founders of the Taliban says most of its members don't agree with stopping girls from going to secondary school and university. Mullah Abdul Salam Zaif has been speaking to the BBC 2 years after the Taliban seized back power in the country. And the head of the RMT has put forward plans to try to end the pay dispute that's seen 20,000 rail workers in England go on strike again. Mick Lynch says some rail reforms can be staggered, but insists his members must get a backdated pay rise and no compulsory redundancies.
Time for the game to start.
Come on! Summer just got even better with BBC iPlayer.
So what should I do then?
Join Blue Lights for all the drama.
At least try to act like police officers. Don't think I won't fail all 3 of you if I have to.
Go behind bars with man like Mobeen.
Turns out someone can leave their cell. Okay, yeah.
And follow the mind games with the Traitors Australia.
Everyone is so suspicious of everyone.
I think it's you.
Watch on BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Premier League reaction to come, but first of all, let's go to Twickenham. England, 2 weeks out from their opening World Cup match, beaten at home by Fiji, 30 points to 22, so a fifth defeat in 6 matches for Steve Borthwick's side. James Burridge is still there. Is it getting worse?
Well, judging on that display, Mark, yes it is. Let's start with the defence and just look at the stats since Steve Borthwick has taken charge. In 9 games, 30 tries conceded. That's a horrible statistic. And there is an argument that, since he's taken over from Eddie Jones, he's been developing this coaching group. But let's be honest, Kevin Sinfield, his defensive coach, has been there from the start. And whatever they are trying, and my goodness, they are trying, it is not working. And in the post-match press conference a short while ago, both he and Courtney Lawes saying defence is the key area. That is where England are coming unstuck time after time. Today in the second half, 3 tries, 1 at the breakdown, huge hole, which Fiji beautifully exploited. Habodi going through a gap out wide. Johnny May completely gassed on the right wing. He had a good first 20 minutes, Johnny May. He got the try, but he was completely outpaced by Ravi Tamada out wide. So whether it's in the tight, whether it's round the fringes, whether it's out wide, England have defensive problems, and they have got 2 weeks to fix them before that opening game against Argentina.
And then on top of that, you talk about the defensive side of things. Courtney Lawes to Amazon said afterwards, it's just not good enough where we are at the minute. We need to get our attack together. We're turning over too many penalties, and today we didn't attack well enough.
He's absolutely right. Courtney always says it's fairly straight. I'll give you one example. It's a bit harsh, but literally the first 2 minutes, England had some great phase plays in good shape, but they turned the ball over immediately because Manu Tuilagi just tried to force it too much. He went away from his support. And time after time, when England try to get shape, when they try to be creative, they are getting turned over in the 22 every time. And the problem was when defensively, if you take it from Fiji's perspective, they grow in confidence, their energy builds, and as a 15, as a unit, they just say, come on then England, let's see what you've got. And at the moment, England haven't got anything in attack. This is where they are coming unstuck. So even if they do defensively sort things out, their attack, they have got to find some shape and some trust in each other.
Thank you very much, James. Elsewhere in warm-up matches, Italy lead Japan 17-11 at half-time. Scotland 0, Georgia 6 at half-time. Ireland play Samoa later. That's a 7:45 kick-off. To the Premier League then. 3 games played, 3 defeats for Everton, beaten 1-0 at Goodison by Wolves. Here's Sean Dyche.
We wanted a reaction. We got that. The fans stood by that reaction. I think they'd have been pleased with a lot of the performance, but of course not pleased with the result. Neither am I. But you've got to show a performance. We were miles off last week. We've affected the group this week, and they've affected each other, and they've delivered a performance today. The thing within that is, I just spoke to them there. If I question the defensive unit, which I do, particularly after the Villa game, the whole defensive unit by that, it's not just the back 4 or 5, including the keeper. I mean the whole team. Then you're within your rights to question the idea when we're scoring goals. So people have got to take responsibility to put the ball in the net.
It is now 3 games without a goal and with defeat. As you say, what have you said to the players? Because it is a tough, a tricky patch at the moment that you guys are going through.
Well, we've had lots of tough, tricky patches before I was here and whilst I've been here. So you've got to learn from that. The experience towards the end of last season, which was very tough on the players, but they came through it. So you've got to believe in that. You've got to understand what that is, and then take it into this season. We've obviously been stretched with players signing. We've also been stretched with injuries. But at the end of the day, there's still good players here, and I thought a lot of the performance showed that today with a couple of changes and people coming in. There was still a good team performance. So, like I say, it's a tough one to take, but we move onwards and upwards.
Sean Dyche with Maz Faruqi. First win for Wolves of the season, though. Here's Gary O'Neill.
Don't want to be stuck on 0 for too long. I'm pleased for the lads because they've worked very hard for the last 15 days, taking on a lot of information, and most important thing was, you come to Goodison and what you need is a togetherness and a resilience and hard work, and I thought they were excellent in that. Improvements as well in the structure and some control that we had, but still a lot of room for improvement in that. But yeah, really pleased for the boys that they get a victory, that their last 3 performances they didn't deserve to be on 0 points or 1 point off the back of them. So delighted that they're now on 3.
Nottingham Forest were 2-0 up at Old Trafford after 4 minutes. They eventually lost 3-2 to Manchester United, the winning goal coming from a Bruno Fernandes penalty. They'd also been reduced to 10 men after Joe Worrell was sent off. Here's Steve Cooper.
We gave everything, that's for sure. I know that the start was a bit of a obscure one in terms of going 2-0 up, and really that set the tone for the game. We knew at times we would have to soak up pressure anyway against Manchester United, and they're rich as players, but it sort of set that tone even more. But in saying that, we still created some really good moments in the game to make a difference, and that will be one of the frustrations from the game. But then at the same time, you need luck to be on your side. Obviously, it's clear that wasn't, with some things that the game went. Although the players give everything in the performance, we still come away disappointed.
There's two moments we have to mention. The red card, obviously, for Joe, and the penalty, which I'm sure is going to probably hurt when you watch it back.
Yeah, I just think the modern refereeing these days, the real top ones, they really take their time in making the decisions. The guys that we see that are really top in the Prem, and it was a little bit of the opposite today in how quickly the decisions were made with the VAR and etc. etc. So I'd love to talk more about it and say what I really think, but I can't do that.
At full time, thousands of fans stayed inside Old Trafford to protest against the Glazers as well. Eric Ten Hag afterwards spoke to Lee Blakeman.
As we talk, there's a lot of noise outside. From your point of view, how pleased are you that you've given the fans something to smile about on the pitch?
The fans are entitled to have their opinions, but you also see there's a very strong bond between the fans and the team. And that is on Old Trafford, but also away from home. So we're very pleased with that, and we want to strengthen that bond by giving them good performances, by giving them good work and maximum efforts. If we stick together, the fans and the team, we will be successful.
Andreas Pereira put Fulham ahead at Arsenal. Arsenal came back to lead 2-1. João Paulinho scored a late equaliser, though, to get a point for Fulham. And they'd also had Calvin Bassey sent off for 2 yellow cards. Here's Mikel Arteta.
It was hard from the beginning. We made it very hard for ourselves, obviously, giving the goal away that we did in the first minute. But the team reacted so well, We dominated the game from start to finish, generated I don't know how many chances, but a lot, how many shots, how many crosses, situation. We should have scored many more goals. We haven't. And that was a difference away, because when we made the most difficult thing to get back in the game and score the second goal, and then with time, and the game should be over. And you have a situation to defend in your own box. If you want to be at the top, you have to defend that with your lives, and we haven't done it.
So lastly from me, is this a reminder of just how important it is to concentrate throughout 90 minutes of a Premier League game, regardless of who you're playing?
The games are won and lost in the details, and today in those details in both boxes we missed something, and when you miss something, the probability of Arsenal winning the game today, when I rate everything tomorrow, will be really, really, really high. In any other sport, you win by 100 points, but this is football, and in football the margins are smaller.
You can watch everything on Match of the Day, 10:25 tonight on BBC One. You can also watch the Athletics on BBC One this evening, where there's a big chance for Great Britain to add to their medal tally. Catherine Merry's in Budapest for us.
It's another balmy evening. It's the penultimate night here in Budapest. Over 30,000 fans. The heats of the men's 4x4 relay going on in the background. Great Britain and Northern Ireland in this one, looking to qualify for that final tomorrow night. But the British team have 5 medals and a chance of more this evening. The men's 800 metre final goes. 21-year-old Commonwealth bronze medalist Ben Patterson lines up, and no Briton has ever won a World 800 metre title. Also this evening, the final of the men's and the women's 4x100 metre relay. The British team have Zarnell Hughes, Daryl Neater and Dina Asher-Smith available, but Dina Asher-Smith has mentioned having a bumpy ride here in Budapest, so we'll see if she's bought in.
As I say, you can watch that on BBC television this evening. The men's eliminator in the 100 is underway, and you can listen to that on Sports Extra. Southern Brave 4 off 4 balls, and there's just a slight delay in that game, as well as Finn Allen gets some medical treatment as he's just managed to ramp the bowling of Richard Gleeson into his own helmet. So that's a slight delay, but that's on Sports Extra if you want to listen to it. Here on 5 Live to come are Chris and Robbie, 08085 909 693. I'm sure they'll want to hear from Colchester fans after they got their first points of the season at Gillingham. And all those Premier League games as well. Brighton are back out at the Amex. They trail West Ham by 1-0. Steve Sidwell's alongside Alistair Bruce-Ball. The stats, though, are ridiculous. I mean, we say all the time you don't win with just by having possession, do you, Steve? But 84% possession for Brighton. And they've had 355 passes compared to West Ham's 62.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, but the game plan that West Ham are doing here of getting everyone behind the ball and having the one man that you want up top in this formation, Antonio. The ball, when that ball comes up, he is going to harass the two centre halves. When it goes up with quality, he's going to bring that ball into play and bring teammates in. That's why this system works with him up top.
All yours, Ali.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, both teams back out on the field now. West Ham in the claret and blue, just going through a quick pre-second half warm-up. The little cones laid out on the floor, a few quick shuttles and sprints urged on by one of the coaching staff. Just having a look at the nascent Premier League table. If West Ham do go on to win this game, they're currently sitting in second place, just behind Tottenham on goal difference at the moment. It'd be 7 points from the first 3 games for them, which, given their struggles in the Premier League last season compared to their fabulous performances in Europe, would be some start for them. But I'm sure David Moyes knows that Brighton and Roberto De Zerbi will have stuff up their sleeve in this second half. Although their goalkeeper Bart Verbruggen, making a debut for Brighton, is called into action early on with a clearance from inside his own penalty area. Estupinian didn't put quite enough on the back pass, and Jarrod Bowen was closing in. Emerson plays a ball forward for West Ham. That is intercepted and runs to Solly March. March crosses the halfway line. He's got 3 West Ham players for company there, and Emerson just decides to hold things up and foul him basically to slow the move down so that West Ham can get themselves back into position. So second half just underway. Lines open for 6:06, as Mark was just saying. Robbie and Chris taking your calls tonight, 08085 909 693, and as with every single Saturday, plenty to talk about with those two. Here's Mitoma into the West Ham penalty area, ball into the far post, headed down. Ferguson's header, downward header, well saved by Areola, throws himself to his left, palms it away, the ball stays in play. It's back with Milner. Milner kills another cross into the penalty area. Welbeck's up, couldn't get a header on it, falls to Mitoma. Mitoma volleys another cross back across goal. Ogbonna clears. Ogbonna's fouled as he clears with the header, and so the Brighton pressure in the end comes to naught. But that was dangerous at the start of the second half. Struggling to actually see that action for the last 30 seconds or so because loads of fans coming pouring down the aisle to our left. But Areola's made a good save from the Evan Ferguson header, Steve Sidwell.
Well, only a minute played in the second half, and we can already see Brighton have come out moving the ball, shifting the ball with a purpose, creating opportunity. Ferguson rose up on the 6-yard box, directed his header down towards goal. Areola with a pretty comfortable save, but great intent for Brighton coming out this second half.
Yeah, definite intensity about Brighton again. They're defending the goal away to our right. They are in the blue shirts with the blue and white vertical stripes, but they pretty much got white backs to them, so you can very clearly see the numbers. Blue shorts, blue socks, and West Ham in the claret and blue. Claret body to the shirt, claret shorts, and the light blue sleeves. Sofal intercepts the diagonal from right back. Bowen plays it back to the Czech right back, who slides a pass with his right foot, knew exactly where Antonio was going to be. Such a willing runner for West Ham. Holds off Webster, still Antonio, edge of the Brighton box. Back to Paquetá. Paquetá, spinning ball with the outside of his left foot. Can't find Bowen. Estupinian. Nice measured pass up the middle of the pitch. Ferguson is crowded out by West Ham midfielders. Ward-Prowse got a tackle in, but Brighton have it again. Pascal Gross. Good ball into the feet of Danny Welbeck. Welbeck dances past Sofal. Hits the shot. That takes a big deflection and goes behind for a Brighton corner.
Oh, the crowd are loving it now. That's what it needed this second half. 2 end-to-end attacks. One from West Ham. Straight away a reply from Brighton. All the fans are on their feet and coming back in from the concourse.
Yeah, still are. Brighton 0, West Ham 1. James Ward-Prowse with the goal in the first half. The Adam Webster mistake that led to it. Match of the day, 10:25, BBC 1. Corner to come in from the left. Pascal Gross holds his right arm in the air. Thousands of Brighton fans packed behind the goal. Mitoma able to chest it down and drive the shot over the bar, and West Ham defenders just stood and watched. That seemed like he had an absolute age there. The angle was tight. He went for power, and he's smashed it over the crossbar, Steve.
It seemed like that was one from the training ground, aimed at the far post. It was more aimed for Webster. It was going to be making a late run. It made his way to Mitoma. So many bodies in front of him, so hard to keep it down. I think that's what made him blaze it over the bar.
Reminds me slightly of the goal he scored against Liverpool. Was it in the FA Cup last season where he dummied the volley initially, didn't he? Brought it back on the inside and then curled one into the top corner, which was one of his best goals of the season. Fabulous goal from Mitoma.
As a player himself, he's just grown in stature, isn't he? Week in, week out, he's so good to watch. I'd actually say he's been probably one of his quietest games today, you know, in terms of real input into this game, in that final third. But a great great addition to this team. Losing McAllister and Trossard, and he's now the shining light. They've got to keep hold of him.
1 goal and 2 assists for Kaoru Mitoma so far this season. Hugging the touchline on the left. Brighton have got the ball in the middle. I'll take you through the 2 team lineups again in just a second. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. 6:06 on the way. This is the second half of Brighton against West Ham, and 2 more Premier League commentaries for you tomorrow afternoon on 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. Sheffield United, Manchester City at 2. Newcastle, Liverpool at 4:30. Mitoma on the ball. A couple of West Ham defenders in front of him, manages to wriggle away from them, plays it back to Gilmour. Gilmour being forced to cross, running sideways across the face of the penalty area. Milner whips one into the feet of Gross to March, wide on the right. Gross makes the run, low cutback from the byline, fallen upon quite comfortably by Areola at his near post. And West Ham deal with yet another Brighton attack. So Brighton have Bart Verbruggen, the 21-year-old Dutchman signed from Anderlecht in the summer, making a debut in goal today. He's coming for Jason Steele. Back 4 of Milner, Webster, Dunk and Estupiñán. West Ham have given the ball away. Here's Gilmour, finds Welbeck. Welbeck looks up, support on the outside from Estupiñán. Takes 1 touch. Oh, now was that a barge from Paquetá into Estupiñán, or was that shoulder to shoulder? Well, Anthony Taylor says the challenge was okay. I mean, Paquetá has absolutely no intention of playing the ball there. Estupiñán waited for the contact, went down, and he doesn't get the penalty. Steve Sidwell, what do you make of that?
I mean, there's definitely a coming together.
Anthony Taylor says wait, Steve. He says wait. No, he says okay, go. We can play.
I think Estupiñán is literally waiting for contact, and then he's going to throw himself to the floor.
Oh, West Ham panicking. Alvarez has given the ball away. Mitoma to Ferguson to Welbeck inside the West Ham box. West Ham desperately trying to get back into position. Gross with a left-footed shot, deflected, spins away. Falls to Welbeck. He decides to keep it in play. Sofal comes in to close him down. Here's Pascal Gross. Gross. Little twist and turn gets him away from Paquetá. Paquetá's going to be the pantomime villain, I fear, here. For his sake this afternoon. Brighton have won another corner. 6 minutes gone in the second half. They still trail West Ham by 1-0.
Really good pace to this game now, isn't there?
Taking the corner quickly, just as you say that. Here come Brighton again. Gross to Mitoma. Quick feet from Mitoma. Gets away from a challenge. Estupiñán has Sofal in front of him, but finds Mitoma just outside the box. Low cross comes in. Volleyed away by Ogbonna, and the West Ham defenders come sprinting up and bring that defensive line up the field. Gilmour under pressure from Ben Rama, can't do anything but knock the ball out of play for a West Ham throw. Just to complete that Brighton lineup for you, Gilmour I just mentioned alongside Pascal Gross in midfield, March, Mitoma the wide men, Welbeck and Ferguson up top. João Pedro is sitting on the bench, a definite option for De Zerbi as he tries to find this equaliser for Brighton in the second half. Great atmosphere building inside the stadium, as you can hear. West Ham, Areola in goal, Sofal, Zuma, Ogbonna and Emerson. Ben Rama's come on for the injured Souček, so it's Paquetá, Alvarez and Ward-Prowse as a midfield 3, and then Ben Rama and Bowen either side of Antonio. Ward-Prowse and Alvarez, the 2 men on yellow cards for West Ham. Sliding challenge from Zuma, just got the ball in time. Anthony Taylor was right there. Welbeck felt the force of it, turns into an attack for West Ham. Ben Rama, nice ball to Bowen. Bowen into the Brighton penalty area, trying to work it onto that left foot, slices the shot. Good chance, goes behind for the goal kick.
Well, first of all, it starts from Zuma with a solid tackle in the middle of the park, and it was a fair challenge. Then Long Levers did get the ball first, and it makes its way out to Gerard Bowen, who tried to be direct and attack Lewis Dunk. He wants to get him inside the 18-yard box, so any contact he could possibly go down. Lucky enough there, it ricochets back into his path, and he just snatches his shot with the outside of his foot.
Feels like it's going to be a very entertaining second half. Don't go anyone. Ball forward from Dunk. Sofal just there in time ahead of Mitoma. Side foots it back to Areola. Cleared by the West Ham keeper. Paquetá tries to get it forward to Antonio. Antonio goes tumbling. No free kick for West Ham. Over in Budapest, we heard from Catherine Merry just before the start of the second half. I can tell you that Great Britain are through to tomorrow night's final of the men's 4x400 metre relay. We've got live coverage tonight here on 5 Live. From 8:30 after 6:06, and that will include the 2 4x100 metre finals, men's and women's, coverage from 8:30 this evening. Lines open for 6:06, 08085 909 693. Have your say with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. Plenty to say on this game already. Here's Webster. Webster's ball into the edge of the box. Zuma stabs a volley away, only as far as Dunk. Good first touch on the volley to control it, and played back to Verbruggen, forward to Dunk. West Ham sit off. Mark Chapman was telling us 84% possession of the football for Brighton in the first half. And I think it's probably going to be similar in the second as well, but West Ham always pose the threat on the counter-attack. Solly March, tackled by Ben Rama. Brighton get the throw. March was complaining about something over on the far side of the field to us. I'm not quite sure what. Dunk. Low to his left to Mitoma. Mitoma moving at speed. Paquetá comes in to try and stop him. Mitoma to Estupiñán. Chips the ball back to the Japanese. Mitoma finds Dunk. Dunk's crossing from the left. Welbeck looking for the flick on. Doesn't quite drop to Ferguson, and a neat little volley. Well, I say a neat little volley. It's gone straight back to the goalkeeper from Areola, and Areola immediately turns to the referee and says it wasn't deliberate, it wasn't a back pass, I was just trying to control it. Anthony Taylor's happy with that. Steve Sidwell.
Yep, that's a bit like my career, that trying to control it one way and it goes the other.
Webster's header hits Antonio. Brighton fans appeal hopefully for a handball. Decision doesn't go their way, but Brighton have the ball back. And Michail Antonio is going to have a lot of running to do again in this second half, chasing a few lost causes, I'm sure, and doing the defensive work, which he's trying to do at the moment. Chases Gilmour for a bit, then lets him go. Dunk forward to Gilmour, central position, just inside the West Ham half, looking for March through the middle. Pass is intercepted. Here's the Mexican Alvarez, first start for West Ham. It's been very cool in possession, actually, and that was a nice floated pass out to Ben Rama, wide on the left. West Ham have a free kick. Quick update on the 100, the eliminator. This is the men's game. Adam Mountford at the Oval.
24 runs scored off 16 balls for Southern Brave. A Kiwi pair. Finn Allen has hit a 4 and a 6, 14 off 13. We've got a double rainbow. We've got some rain falling, but we have got some cricket. 24 off 16.
Ball-by-ball commentary continues over on Sports Extra. The winners against the Oval Invincibles tomorrow at Lord's. Ball-by-ball coverage of that one will be on Sports Extra tomorrow as well. While we were away with Adam there, West Ham took their free kick. Emerson got released in the inside left channel and absolutely thundered a shot which just clipped the top of the crossbar. Now, if West Ham get 2 goals in front, then it's going to look very tough for Brighton. At the moment it's just 1-0, and here come Brighton down the left with Estupiñán looking for the cut back to Welbeck on the edge of the box. It falls to Gilmour now, just on the edge of the D. Quick pass to his right to March, finds Pascal Gross. There's the back heel. Ferguson can't get the shot away, but the ball has run to March again on the right hand side. March plays back to Gross. Brighton have lost it. Antonio into the path of Ben Rama. Here come West Ham on the counter. Webster comes across to try and cover the danger. Gross is there as well. Ben Rama gets away from Gross, but Webster is still there. Little step over from the Algerian. He's beaten both of them. He's still going on the left hand side. Cross comes in, looking for Antonio. Comes back to Ben Rama. Good vision from Ben Rama to see Paquetá. Left foot volley, edge of the box, straight at Verbruggen. Steve Sidwell.
Well, if this pace is just turning up to frantic now, as it is end to end, it's like basketball. And it probably suits Brighton actually, because West Ham can't get in their shape, they can't get disciplined. That's why there's so many turnovers there. But that chance there, I mean, what a great run. First of all, down the left-hand side from Ben Rama, sticks to his feet like glue.
Great game, great atmosphere. And here's Mitoma into West Ham's penalty area. The ball deflects into the path of Gilmour. Gilmour sees Gross there. Gross has to slide to try and control the pass. Just not quite the precision required there from Gilmour to play Gross in so he could hit the first-time shot. And here's the West Ham counter-attack again. That's Antonio's ball to Ben Rama. Bowen is steaming forward on the right. Ben Rama's seen him. Bowen controls. Brilliant. Oh, and he's tucked it away in the bottom corner. Fabulous finish from Jared Bowen. Classic counter-attack from West Ham. And they lead Brighton by 2-0.
What a goal. Superb there from all accounts of West Ham United. Counter-attack at your best. There must be 9-10 bodies in the 18-yard box for West Ham. Antonio gets it first, shrugs off of 2 players, then slides it down to Bereno, who you think he's just waiting for support. And at the bottom of our screen we can see Gerard Bowen absolutely on the charge. It's a great take, isn't it? The ball is sublime. It lands on a sixpence, and then it's all about the control. Can you get instant control? Yes, you can. Then it's about the composure, and he tucks it away, and it kisses the far post. Superb goal for West Ham there.
Talk all you want about the stats and styles of football, but a goal like that is as beautiful as anything we've seen from Brighton in terms of the build-up today, because that is the plan. And the Ben Rama ball and the Bowen touch on the move with his left foot, as you say, Steve, but then the finish with the outside of the left boot, that is a delightful goal from West Ham. David Moyes leaping for joy. You have to see that on Match of the Day tonight. And Brighton were about to make a change. It's going to be a double change for them. They are now 2-0 down at home to West Ham, having never lost to West Ham previously in the Premier League. Welbeck off, João Pedro on. Adam Lallana is coming on, and he's coming on for Billy Gilmour. So Gilmour and Welbeck off, Lallana and João Pedro on. What a goal from West Ham. Jared Bowen with his second of the season. That's exactly what, and when you get those chances, Steve, you've got to be clinical. That's what they've done.
I cannot tell you how hard that to control the ball that Jared Bowen done there. The ball has been whipped in, and it's one of the ones where it just bounces in front of you. His touch has to be absolutely on the button, like within a yard. He's got nowhere else to go, and in the quickness as well to then change feet and then just slot it with the outside of his left foot into the far post.
So Brighton 0, West Ham 2. Half an hour remaining. Lines open for 6:06. João Pedro with a little back heel looking for the run of Evan Ferguson. Zuma gets caught in possession on the edge of his own box. Brighton immediately back on the attack. West Ham have soaked it all up very successfully so far this evening. Lallana with a little trip. Ball into the box, intercepted by Zuma. Second attempt from Lallana is blocked. It comes back to Lewis Dunk. Central position, 35 yards out. Plays it to Webster. James Milner finds March, then the cross comes in from the right hand side. Brighton still trying to find those little gaps, trying to exploit them, not being able to do so. Estupiñán with a clever little dummy gets away from Paquetá, then claims he was caught on his heel by Paquetá, goes down. Brighton get a free kick. Brighton 0, West Ham 2. Ward-Prowse and Bowen with the 2 goals for West Ham, and the second an absolute beauty. Gross forward to João Pedro. João Pedro involved again. Brighton's record signing, the Brazilian bought from Watford in the summer. Started the first game of the season. Started this one tonight on the bench. Tall man out in the middle of the field, and the ball is with Lewis Dunk. Milner's starting to make a run from the right. Dunk can't get the pass right though. He was looking for that run from Milner, but in the end he's just scooped the balls into the arms of Areola.
And this is what West Ham want. That's what they want. They just want to get back, have 2 banks of defensive lines, really frustrate the 2 centre halves of Webster and Dunk. They're going to have the majority of the ball, and for them to just waste their chance.
Ferguson, edge of the box, hits a first time effort on the half volley. That one's blocked. Emerson's there to cover it for West Ham. Clears with his left foot. That'll be a throw in for Brighton. The pressure from the home team is going to be relentless. Roberto De Zerbi will demand that. But again, it might give West Ham more opportunities on the counter attack. Thousands of West Ham fans away to our right singing "We've Got Super David Moyes." And you think you think back to last season and the stick he was getting from the West Ham fans, and had he potentially not won that European trophy for them, would he even be West Ham manager now? We don't know. I mean, it turns around so quickly, Steve.
Yeah, the season before that they hit unbelievable heights, and then they're saying, was that a one season wonder? Have they overachieved? They underperformed last season. They had the final cherry on the cake with that great European performance, and now they're slowly getting their foothold back into this Premier League and putting in key performances just like today.
Booing and jeering from the Brighton fans. They feel West Ham trying to run the clock down. Emerson seemed to have a slight problem. Anthony Taylor was straight over, and as soon as he came over, Emerson picked himself up and was ready to carry on. Brighton 0, West Ham 2. Lovely first touch again from Bowen. Curling pass in towards Antonio. Difficult one to control. Great turn from Antonio. 3-0. West Ham on fire at the Amex Stadium. Michail Antonio, touch, turn and finish. Brighton 0, West Ham 3, and Brighton don't know what's hit them.
Well, that is Michail Antonio to a T. That is the bread and butter. You get balls into him and you get defenders that want to get too tight. That's where he wants to roll you. He knows where he wants to go. He knows where the goal is always. Can he get it onto his right foot? Yes, he can. The strike is out of this world.
Well. I mean, similar strike in a way to the one he scored against Chelsea last weekend in terms of where the ball has ended up. Slightly different finish, but so cleanly struck, and does so well because the control was awkward on the right thigh. He then has the defender behind him, fates to go one way, turns the other, and just drills it in the bottom corner. 2 goals in the second half, Steve Sidwell, from West Ham of the highest quality.
Yeah, he's give Webster the run around this afternoon. He doesn't know whether he's coming or going in behind, going short. When he goes short, Webster's getting too tight. He's given him a little jink there, a shuffle, gets it onto his right side, and it's a great finish. You know, from someone that has scored a numerous amounts of different goals for West Ham. He's got a fantastic goal last week through the legs of the Chelsea defender, and this time now he picks his spot, aims and unleashes an unstoppable strike.
Well, coming into today's game, in terms of top flight football in England's top division, West Ham and Brighton have met 16 times. West Ham had only won once. Goals from Alan Devonshire and Tony Cottee back at Upton Park in 1983. This is 2023, 40 years on, and they're 3-0 up at Brighton with goals from Ward-Prowse, Bowen and Antonio. Mitoma on the left for Brighton. Two defenders in his way. Estupiñán is there for support. Quick pass from him back to Dunk. João Pedro wide on the left. Rolls it to Dunk again. West Ham back into their defensive shape. Have had their 2 chances in the second half and have taken them superbly and lead Brighton by 3-0. Milner curls across him with his left foot. João Pedro up high to try and get on the end of the header. Landed really awkwardly on his back. He's hurt. He's stayed down. Not a head injury, so Brighton can continue. They've got the ball. They do continue. And they found Mitoma wide on the left. Mitoma's curling cross. Zuma stretches and volleys it away. Dunk chests it down. Sees a wall of claret and blue in front of him. Lallana takes the ball on the turn. Played back to Webster. Wide it goes to Milner. Milner tries to slide it in down the right. It's blocked and goes behind for a corner. 25 minutes to play. And West Ham heading for a famous win, leading Brighton by 3-0. Pascal Gross lines one up, edge of the box, left-footed drive. Areola's down to save it, and he's palmed it behind for a corner.
Well, West Ham will take that. Shots outside the box. Plenty of bodies behind it again.
Corner will come in from the right. It'll be left-footed delivery from Solly March at pace, deep to the far post. Dunk's header. Areola throws himself to the left, makes a good save. Straight back to March. March is in an offside position, and Areola, that is his best save of the game so far, and it remains Brighton 0, West Ham 3.
Yeah, you'd fancy Lewis Dunk inside that 6-yard box with a free head. He gets it on target. It's a great save from Areola, to be fair. He parries it out away from danger, but David Moyes has got to be so proud of this West Ham team. They've carried out all the instructions that he's asked. Every goal has been a training ground goal, you feel like, that they've worked on this week. He's got to be delighted with what they've done so far.
Last time I watched West Ham and saw their fans celebrating was back in Prague at the Europa Conference League final. Now the celebrations obviously are not going to be anything like that here this evening, but it's been a brilliant performance, very similar to last week and against Chelsea. Quite happy for the opposition to have the ball, gifted the goal in the first half and have scored 2 brilliant goals in the second half. The first one, a classic counter-attack move from right inside their own half. Looking for a fourth now here as well. Ward-Prowse hits the shot straight at Verbruggen, who makes a fairly comfortable save. Picks himself out, runs up to the edge of the box and then just bowls the ball into the path of Lewis Dunk. So lines open for 6:06. I'm sure Robbie and Chris will welcome the thoughts of West Ham fans and Brighton fans this evening. 08085 909 693 is the number to dial. Robbie and Chris taking the calls through until 8:30, and then Sarah Mulkerrin's taking over with more coverage of the World Athletics Championships. That's over on BBC One at the moment, coverage of the 4x100 metre finals this evening. João Pedro tackled on the edge of the West Ham box. Paquetá crowded out by Brighton players, but he's won West Ham a throw. And actually, that goal, that third goal from West Ham, means they are top of the Premier League on goal difference, above Tottenham. Tottenham on 7 points, Arsenal on 7 points, West Ham on 7 points, but West Ham leading by 3-0 puts them on the top of the table. What can Brighton do about it as time runs out on them in the second half? Just over 20 minutes to play. Not been able to find a way through so far. João Pedro, quick first-time ball round the corner to Evan Ferguson. Ferguson outnumbered. Pedro is there. Nearly got clipped on the edge of the box. Finds Mitoma. Mitoma down in the penalty area. Anthony Taylor wags a finger. Had a good view of that and doesn't think that's a penalty. Brighton fans incensed. Video assistant referee is David Coote. He'll be having a look at Stockley Park. West Ham have come away with the ball, and Ogbonna in the end turns, plays back to Alvarez. Alvarez to his goalkeeper Areola, and Areola clears with his right foot towards Bowen. Bowen jumps, beats Estupiñán in the air, but the ball runs to Lewis Dunk.
There was definitely a tangle of legs there, wasn't there? He thought possibly there might be a chance. That's what Brighton are hoping for. Certainly if they want to get back into this game, they need a goal as soon as possible.
Certainly do. They keep coming. Lallana lays it back to Webster. Webster driving forward, looking for the diagonal pass to Mitoma. Finds him. Bouncing ball. Japanese international chests it down. Crosses with the outside of his right foot, looking for Ferguson. He was trying to chest it into the path of Lallana. Lallana couldn't quite get there in time. West Ham have cleared. And Dunk has it. Dunk across to Webster. Webster wide to March. March delays the cross. Emerson in front of him. Milner in support on the right. Milner's cut back to Lallana inside the penalty area, looking for Ferguson. Ferguson took too long. Paquetá picks his pocket. Looks for Antonio. Webster's able to deal with that for Brighton. Still inside the West Ham half. Dunk lays it off to Gross. Lallana points to his right as if to say give it to Milner. Gross ignores that and plays it to Dunk on the left. Low pass from Dunk at pace to Mitoma. Mitoma works it onto his right foot. Corner of the West Ham box. Played to Gross, back to Dunk, across to Estupinian. Estupinian's cross comes in. West Ham happy with that. Headed away by Alvarez. Ben Rama plays it back to Emerson. Emerson at speed, caught by Solly March. And that'll be a free kick for West Ham. It is going perfectly to plan for the visitors.
I can't praise West Ham highly enough in terms of a defensive display this afternoon. The way that they've been drilled in every one of them, just shifting side to side. Don't break the gaps, make it hard for Brighton to penetrate balls through the middle. They're trying to get it wide. If it goes wide, they're shifting across. If balls come in, they're getting first contacts. They're winning their individual battles. It's been a Class A performance from West Ham today.
Those are the thoughts of Steve Sidwell here at the Amex Stadium. Brighton waiting to make another couple of changes. Joel Veltman is getting ready to come on, as is the young Ivorian Simon Adingra. Chance for Antonio. Oh, he's put it over the bar. Could easily have been 4-0. Verbruggen came out to try and make a block. He looks hurt. Antonio's down. He's hurt as well. West Ham very nearly had a fourth.
He has to score. He has to score. Again, it's just a looped ball from Paquetá. He finds him perfectly, but he gets him behind Webster again. And he's inside the 6-yard box. And he tries, it's as though he actually tries to find the absolute top corner. But all he needs to do is just slot it low and hard. The ball's always rising above the goal.
James Milner first to come off for Brighton, which means I need to get this little piece of information in very quickly, because he was the subject of Tony Livesey's Fact of the Day, which is at 5:20 every Friday on Drive. Football commentators getting tested to see whether they can outwit Tony Livesey and the Drive team. So James Milner in a Liverpool game against Barcelona, after Liverpool had knocked them out of the Champions League, was called one of three things by Lionel Messi. I learned I had a choice of it was either a pavon, meaning a turkey, a raton, a mouse, or a burro, a donkey. Which one do you think it was, Steve? What did Lionel Messi call James Milner after Barcelona had been knocked out of the Champions League? Did he call him a turkey, a mouse, or a donkey?
A donkey.
Yes, Steve. Bang on, that's exactly what I said, and that is Fact of the Day for you. 5:20 every Friday. John Murray got his first one right this season. I've managed to get my first one right this season. Lot of pressure on Ian Dennis next Friday. Solly March, the other man to come off. Adingra and Veltman have come on for Brighton. This is Simon Adingra, Ivorian winger. Second season at the club, although last season was away on loan with Union Saint-Gilloise, just like Karim Mitoma did when he first joined Brighton. Adingra has already scored this season against Luton in the first game. Webster's ball in, looking for Mitoma, couldn't find him. Paquetá lets it bounce in front of him just outside the West Ham penalty area, and he's lost it to Ferguson. Laid off by João Pedro to Gross. Lallana, again, so many players around him. Difficult to work the ball here, but does find Ferguson. Ferguson able to turn, edge of the area, was thinking about trying to line up a shot, but there was just no room to execute that. Estupinian to João Pedro, little 1-2. Estupinian outside of the left foot ball to Mitoma, laid off to João Pedro. He dummies the cross. Number 9 on his back in his Brighton shirt, plays it to Dunk. Dunk to Gross. West Ham wall in front of Pascal Gross in claret and blue. Wide to Webster. Webster had to stretch to get that ball to Adingra. Adingra space to work with, comes running towards the edge of the West Ham penalty area. Across the face of the box. Little chip ball in, looking for Mitoma. Bowen tried to deal with it, didn't quite do that. João Pedro plays it to Estupinian on the left. Estupinian, his cross in, hits Sofal. Incredible defensive effort from West Ham with just over 15 minutes to play. They are still holding out. They're 3 goals to the good. João Pedro curling ball is overhit towards the far post beyond Joel Veltman, and West Ham will have a goal kick. David Moyes must be absolutely delighted with the way his team are playing.
Yeah, the mindset of these players, even these offensive players, you like the Paquetá, Jarrod Bowen, Ben Rama, they put in one hell of a defensive shift for them to go all week and say, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to concede possession, have that mindset, but if we come away with the 3 points, how good is that going to feel back on the road?
15 minutes remaining in this game. 6:06 on the way. Lines open 08085 909 693. West Ham fans away to our right. I'm sure you can make it out singing "We Are Top of the League." They are at the moment. Here's Adingra on the right, waggling his right foot in front of the ball. Emerson's not falling for that one, just watches the ball, takes it off him. Down the line to Ben Rama, back to Emerson. Clever 1-2, and here come West Ham and Antonio running away down the middle. Can they find him? Ward-Prowse with the first time ball, beautifully hit into the path of Ben Rama. 3 players in the middle making ground here. Ben Rama's ball might fall to Antonio. Step over from Paquetá, didn't reach Bowen at the far post. West Ham still have it though. Ben Rama controls. Offside flag stays down, and Ben Rama with his back to goal, wide down by the byline on the left, back to Paquetá, and there are the tricks and flicks. A little jump up and a right foot behind the left pass back to Emerson. Ole's every single pass that is completed now, and Paquetá's going to run this ball down to the corner flag. Wouldn't be surprised if a hefty challenge is on its way for the Brazilian. Tries to dance his way down the byline, tackled by Webster. It's all going West Ham's way. They've won a corner. They lead Brighton by 3-0. Fantastic performance.
And they can enjoy this. They've earned the right. They've earned the stripes. They've played 75 minutes of hard, dogged, rough defensive displays, and now these are the joys that they can get in the final third. Now you can show your tricks and flicks, because yes, you have put the hard yards in. You're 3-0 up.
15 minutes to play. West Ham are going to make a change shortly, leading 3-0. Post-match reaction will come to you live during 6:06. West Ham's corner will come in from the left. Ward-Prowse's delivery, another one of those vicious dippers into the near post. Webster heads it away. Adingra then volleys it away. Mitoma chases, beaten to it by Sofal. Sofal plays it back here to Areola. Can already see a fair few empty seats dotted around the ground. Brighton fans who've decided they've seen enough for today and that their team aren't going to get back into this one. 3 goals down. Great start to the season, of course. Won those first 2 games by 4-1. The aim today was try to become only the 4th team in top flight history to score 4 or more goals in the first 3 games of the season. Well, they could still do it. 4 goals in less than 15 minutes would be some dramatic comeback. Here's Ferguson, edge of the West Ham box. Ball at his feet, looking for an option. Pascal Gross provides it, can't find Joao Pedro. Well read by Bowen. Bowen trying to bring it away. Paquetá looks for Bowen. Brighton have it back. Here's Estupinian. Estupinian finds Mitoma on the left. Mitoma against Sofal. Mitoma with the right-footed cross into the far post. Emerson's waiting, heads it away. Ben Rama gets there ahead of Veltman, uses his body to shield the ball. He's forced back down to the byline. Emerson's there to try and help. West Ham almost lose it, and now they have given it away, and Pascal Gross has time to try and pick out Mitoma at the far post. Sofal heads it away.
West Ham would just be literally licking their lips at these balls coming in. Crosses coming in from deep. You got Sufal, Zuma, Ogbonna. They're all going to be making first contact, getting the ball away.
Brighton won't stop trying. Mitoma on the left, having received the diagonal from Gross. Support on the outside from Joao Pedro. A lot to do there. Oh, it's clever. Darted inside Paquetá, and Sofal then went down. Referee thought he was making a meal of it, so doesn't get the free kick. West Ham try and play out. Paquetá with the outside of his left foot. Lewis Dunker's got it covered and chases back towards the halfway line. Brighton 0, West Ham 3. Here's Joao Pedro again, edge of the West Ham penalty area, looking to slide that pass to his right. West Ham again get a body in the way. Pascal Gross though takes it off Ben Rama. Played to Adingra. Adingra inside the penalty area. Gross with his right foot, and Areola again there to save for West Ham. Palms it away, and it goes behind for a Brighton corner.
You just feel it's just not going to be that day, is it, for Brighton? They could be here till next week and they're still not going to score.
Yeah, Mitoma wanted to take the corner quickly. David Moyes just too quick for him though. In to make the substitution, Michail Antonio. Another fabulous afternoon's work for him. Another goal for him this afternoon. One against Chelsea last weekend, one this afternoon. Antonio comes off and Thilo Kehrer comes on. So tomorrow's Premier League Sunday, your 3 guests from 12 until 2 ahead of our 2 Premier League commentaries. Steve Bruce will be with us tomorrow. Aaron Lennon and Nedum Anua, regular on the show as always, of course. 2 o'clock we got commentary of Sheffield United against Manchester City, and then at 4:30 John Murray and Pat Nevin will bring you full commentary of Newcastle against Liverpool. Dutch Grand Prix live on Sports Extra tomorrow from 1:45. And the 100 tomorrow as well. Coverage on Sports Extra of the 100 finals at Lord's. Corner comes in from Pascal Gross, headed away off the goal line. Joao Pedro jumps. Ward-Prowse clears. West Ham won another one on the counter. Ben Rama up against Adingra. Adingra slides in. Ben Rama's beaten him. Brighton do have bodies back. Ben Rama finds Ward-Prowse, who backheels it cleverly into his path. There's Ward-Prowse again. Angles tight for him, drives it to the near post. Oh, and it flicks up off the goalkeeper, off a defender, off the bar, and back into Verbruggen's arms. Could so easily have been 4-0. And look out, here come Brighton now on the counter. Goalkeeper Verbruggen bowls it out to Matoma. Matoma is suddenly 30 yards from goal in a central position. Lays it off to Ferguson, but West Ham have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 back. Ferguson hits a very weak shot, and Areola makes the save.
I mean, you can't even catch your breath. It's literally just end to end. I know Brighton need to get back into this game, but West Ham are going for a fourth. They're enjoying it so much. They don't want to just sit back and see what they've done for the last 75 minutes. No, they want more, as do the West Ham fans behind that goal.
Brighton 0, West Ham 3. Heading towards the last 10 minutes here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Areola's clearance easily picked off by Estupinian. David Moyes is not going to rest just yet. Desperate, like his team are, for the clean sheet. Pascal Gross comes creeping forward with the ball at his feet. Brighton fans streaming out of the Amex here. Their team looks like it's been well beaten this afternoon. Gross dummies a shot on the left foot. Lines one up on the right foot and finds the bottom corner. Fabulous finish from Pascal Gross. Will we have a dramatic finish on our hands? Brighton 1, West Ham 3.
Well, that's all they know, Brighton, to keep going, and it's typical Pascal Gross. He gets the ball on the edge of the box. He's got the great feint where he goes to have a strike with his left foot, Cruyffs it back onto his right. Areola, I see when he said when the ball went into the back of the net there, he didn't have the vision, he couldn't see the ball. I didn't see whether it took a deflection or not, but the crowd now are right behind the team.
Just wonder whether some of those heading out might turn on the heel and come back in and think, you know what, 10 minutes to go, if we can get another one quickly. And Brighton can score goals for fun, you never know. So Brighton 1, West Ham 3. Pascal Gross has now become Brighton's record goal scorer in the Premier League as well, because that takes him to 27, and he goes past Neil Maupay and Glenn Murray. Brighton throw on the way quickly to the Oval, the 100 eliminator. Manchester Originals against Southern Brave. Adam Mountford.
The Brave 87 without loss off 53. Big hitting Finn Allen's just reached a half century with a towering 6 of Zamain Khan. Fellow Kiwi Conway more circumspect on 25. 89 now off 53.
Ball-by-ball commentary continues on Sports Extra. The team will be there for the finals at Lord's tomorrow as well, where we hope for slightly better weather. Here's Estupinian, plays it back to Dunk. You know that there's going to be plenty of added time at the end of the game as well, so Brighton will still feel they can get something out of this. Joel Veltman is forward here, edge of the West Ham penalty area. Here's Gross, the goal scorer. Roll back to Dunk. Dunk across to Estupinian. Takes a touch with his left foot. Paquetá's in front of him. Gross again. 3 West Ham players in front of him. Joao Pedro hits the shot. That's deflected and behind for a corner. Brighton believe.
They do believe. They'll always believe. And now it's down to the fitness levels and the concentration levels from both teams. Concentration levels from West Ham, that being defensive.
Joao Pedro comes short to take the corner. Gives it straight back to Gross. Gross with Bowen in front of him, sees Estupinian in space. Estupinian, little ball to Gross inside the penalty area. Gross on the outside to Estupinian. Oh, is there a handball there? Sofal sliding in. Anthony Taylor says that is a corner, and again had a very clear view of it. Brighton questioning whether Sofal's arm is in the unnatural position. It's by his side. It's very clearly hit his left arm, but does he deliberately want to block that with his arm as he goes down? Is that a clever bit of defending?
No, not at all. He slides down to defend as his arms. He doesn't put his arm out. It's just where he's going to land.
Oh, Estupinian, I've never seen the like. Practically an air shot. The corner was taken short to Estupinian. Got his head up, was about to hit the cross in, took his eye off the ball and just shanked it out of play for a goal kick. Brighton 1, West Ham 3.
We're just seeing the replay there of Sufal, but it's not a penalty. He's sliding back to try and stop the cross. Estupinian cuts the ball back, but it's where Sufal is going to be landing on his arm. He doesn't put his arm out. It's going to be where he's landing.
Right, we're back into the old time-wasting area here. Edson Alvarez down. I think he's about to be replaced. Anthony Taylor gets into his feet and says, get off the pitch as quickly as you can. David Coote, the video assistant referee, of course, will have had a look at the potential Sofal handball and very quickly decided, like Steve said, no penalty. Fornals is coming on. Jarrod Bowen is staying on, but he's just come over to get instructions from David Moyes, and Danny Ings will be coming on for West Ham as well. Paquetá is coming off. So 2 Premier League commentaries coming your way tomorrow. Just to give you a little heads up for the week ahead as well. Monday Night Club, always a great listen, as always. On Monday, Mark Chapman and the team. And if you've missed any of them previously, you can find them on the BBC Sounds app via the Monday Night Club podcast. League Cup football for you Tuesday night, Wednesday night. Feature game Tuesday night is Plymouth against Crystal Palace. Doncaster Rovers against Everton on Wednesday. Next Saturday, 2 more commentaries for you on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Burnley Tottenham at 3 o'clock, and Brighton will be in commentary action again. They're at home to Newcastle next week at 5:30. Sunday, got 3 commentaries for you actually. I'll tell you about them in just a second. Mitoma plays it to his left to João Pedro. 6 minutes plus added time remaining. Robbie and Chris waiting to take the calls on 6:06. Pascal Gross has given Brighton hope. Here is Gross to Mitoma. Mitoma, Ward-Prowse in front of him, takes it past him, gives it to João Pedro, tries to find Mitoma again. Sofal, good defending actually, gets his body in the way, and Mitoma just runs into the back of him and goes down. You're never getting a penalty for that.
No chance. Clever link-up play from Mitoma. And João Pedro, but again, excellent defending from Sofal. Doesn't watch the ball, stays with his runner. Critical defending in the moment, in vital moments here in this game.
Right, Sunday's 3 commentaries for you. Mouth-watering stuff this next Sunday. Rangers Celtic, first derby of the season up in the Scottish Premiership at 12 o'clock. Liverpool Villa at 2. Arsenal Manchester United at 4:30. That is all the football on the way for you on 5 Live and BBC Sounds in the coming week. Danny Ings turns, plays the ball infield to find Fornals. Fornals doesn't even need to look up, just drills the pass onto the chest of Ben Rama. Ben Rama into that Brighton penalty area, a little step over, looking for the cutback. Lallana is able to intercept it. Has Veltman kept that ball in play down by the byline on the right hand side? He has, gives it to Lallana, back heels it to Veltman. Veltman takes his time over the clearance, can't find a teammate. Ogbonna heads it forward. Ben Rama chests it down wide on the left. We're into the last 5 minutes of the 90. Ben Rama slides a pass here to Jarrod Bowen, knocked off the ball brilliantly by João Pedro, and suddenly Brighton are going to try and come on a late counter in this game, trailing by 3-1. Estupinian forward to João Pedro. Pedro twisting and turning, running at Sofal, lays it off to his left. Estupinian's cross into the near post, blocked, and it's behind for yet another Brighton corner.
What a great game, what a great second half we've had. It literally feels like the ball has not been out of play at all.
Brighton corner taken by João Pedro. Pedro to Gross. Gross on the left-hand side here. João Pedro on his outside. Jarrod Bowen in front of him. Gross dummies the cross with the left foot. Plays back to João Pedro. João Pedro on a little dribble forward. Wide to Gross. Gross to Estupinian. João Pedro gets involved again. Lallana. João Pedro's crossing towards the far post. Volley! Oh, brilliant save. Areola tips it over the bar. It'll be another corner. Quickly to Budapest for the latest on the World Athletics Championships. Catherine Merrick.
Both the men's and the women's 4x400 metre relay teams have qualified third fastest for their finals tomorrow, but still to come tonight, 3 medal chances, both sprint relays, and Ben Patterson goes in the men's 800 metres.
Thank you, Catherine. Looking forward to that. 3 minutes to play in this game plus added time. West Ham leading Brighton by 3-1. Bowen on the charge for West Ham, fouled by Karu Mitoma. Got to be a yellow card, and is a yellow card. What a save from Areola, by the way.
Well, for Kurt Zuma there, now rushing to his goalkeeper Areola, and it was a delicious save, wasn't it? I mean, it was a great connection from Veltman, who struck it superbly straight down Areola. There was a slight little bit of outside swaz that was going into the corner, but he saved it, and then Jarrod Bowen does what he does best, picks the ball up. He didn't see Berahino on the left-hand side. He decided to take it himself, drag his team up the pitch.
Ward-Prowse takes the free kick, just looks to hit this into the channel for Danny Ings to chase. Dunk very carefully, clears with his left foot. Sofal is onto it. Ings has given the ball away. Not long left for Brighton to try and find a couple of goals. Mitoma has unbelievable energy to keep going down the left, and Thilo Kehrer just barges him over, and this is a free kick for Brighton, and that is a yellow card for Thilo Kehrer. What a burst of speed so late in the game from Mitoma.
Yeah, amazing fitness levels. He literally can go 90 minutes plus, getting the ball, showing bursts of energy, bundles of energy trying to just get his team another goal. Can they get one and make it a real final hurrah?
Oh, Joao Pedro slides it through and Lallana stretched and couldn't control it. Had he been able to take a touch there, he might have been able to get a shot away. The ball, from West Ham's point of view, safely rolls into the arms of Alphonse Areola. 89th minute of the game. Brighton 1, West Ham 3. And West Ham, according to my table on the BBC Sport website, are still top of the Premier League table despite having conceded that goal. West Ham 7 points, Tottenham 7 points, Arsenal 7 points. Manchester City with the chance to make it 3 wins out of 3 and go to 9 points tomorrow in our 2 o'clock commentary away to Sheffield United. 90th minute of the game. David Moyes going through the agonies in front of us here. Joao Pedro on the ball for Brighton. Little burst of speed from him. He looks fresh. Looks for Mitoma. Mitoma can't quite control it. Up against Bowen. Oh, he's barged Bowen off the ball brilliantly to win it and turn and come running back at the West Ham defenders. Lays it off to Gross. Wide to Estupiñán. Estupiñán just outside the penalty area on the left. Now into the box. Joao Pedro dummies a shot with his right foot. Dummies with his left foot. Back onto the right. Stands the ball up towards the far post. Benrahma tries to get a touch. Nearly fell to Ferguson. Cleared away by West Ham. And Webster goes running back again. Brighton just keep coming and coming and coming, and West Ham are managing to hold them at bay. Ball in towards Joao Pedro, couldn't get a header on it, couldn't get a clean header on it anyway, and Sofal is there to clear with his right foot. George, our producer, thinks there's going to be 7 minutes of added time at the end of this game.
Well, we're seeing that more and more, aren't we, in these games? And Brighton, they won't go away from their philosophy, their style. They'll just keep trying to be intricate and play their way into the box.
6 minutes of added time, but that's because I couldn't count. George held up 6 fingers and I said 7. 6 minutes of added time. George is bang on. I'm rusty at the start of the season. Fornals tackles Adingra. And West Ham try and bring it away down the left. Benrahma goes down. Adingra with the challenge. Throw-in given to Brighton. They take it quickly. Lallana, difficult throw for him to control. Did well. Lays the ball off to the goal scorer Gross for Brighton. Central position 30 yards out. Play back to Dunk. Brighton can get another one now. Leave themselves 5 minutes to try and find the equaliser. Then we're in for an absolute humdinger of a finish. Chris and Robbie on the way with the phone in 08085 909 693 to get your calls in. Mitoma on the left for Brighton. Tries to beat Sofal on the outside. Sofal's got him covered. Lays it back to Estupiñán. Cross comes into the far post. Headed up and away to the edge of the box. Joao Pedro rather awkwardly comes off his knee. Benrahma chests it down. Dunk comes chasing across to try and get a challenge in. Fornals gives chase. Webster is there first. And he plays it back to his goalkeeper, Verbruggen. Verbruggen with his right foot to Dunk. Dunk to Gross. Gross with the ball at his feet inside the West Ham half. Quickly forward to Mitoma. Onto the chest of Joao Pedro. Lays it off to Mitoma. Mitoma, looking for Ferguson. Falls for Ferguson. What a save from Areola. Somehow blocks that one as well. Up onto the bar and behind for a corner. That is 2 unbelievable saves from Veltman and Ferguson. Could so easily be 3-3.
Well, it just fell for Ferguson again, and he unleashes a pile driver at the West Ham goal. You're thinking it's a certain goal. And Areola there sticks out an arm. Strong wrist. Flicks it onto the crossbar over the goal. Fantastic save.
Yeah, brilliant. Areola given the nod this season over Lucas Fabianski, who can only admire from the bench. He has made some unbelievable saves in this second half. Ogbonna down with cramp. He's up on his feet again. Brighton with a corner. 6 minutes of added time. We've played a couple of those already. 6:06 is on the way. Let's see what Brighton can do with the corner. Gross just takes his time, walks towards the ball, measures a few paces backwards, looks into the penalty area, raises his left arm and delivers it high towards the far post. Dunk with the header. Oh, it's headed off the line this time and over the bar, and it's Danny Ings back there to again deny Brighton, and it's another corner. Already the ball is on the spot and they take it quickly. Lallana to Gross. Gross with his left foot, swung in from the right, dunks there again, heads it down across the face of goal, and this time it goes behind for a goal kick. You cannot say you have not been entertained.
What an entertaining game. I mean, Danny Ings there, you talk about making an impact. You're thinking he'd be making an impact at the other end, but defensively, look, he senses the danger. He gets back to the line, heads it over the crossbar. Everybody in this West Ham side has put in a performance. They've had no passengers from 1 to 11 and the substitutes that has come on. Every single one of these West Ham players has made an impact.
Looks like you're going to be reacting to a West Ham win on 6:06 this evening with Robbie and Chris. Lines open 08085 909 693. Other Premier League scorelines today. Tottenham's 2-0 win at Bournemouth. Arsenal held at home by Fulham 2-2. Brentford 1, Palace 1. Everton beaten again at home this time. Late goal they conceded against against Wolves. They've lost their first 3 games, they're bottom of the table. And Manchester United, 2-0 down early on, have beaten Nottingham Forest by 3-2 today. West Ham on their way to a famous win here at Brighton. Their first ever Premier League win against Brighton, and David Moyes' first ever win as a Premier League manager against Brighton at the 9th attempt. It's not over quite yet. Lallana's found a Stupinian. Poor touch from him. Sofal's able to clear. Lewis Dunk might as well hit it. Does so. Miles over the bar and behind for the goal kick. Brighton 1, West Ham 3. 3 minutes of added time remaining. They're going to do it. They are just going to get there, aren't they?
No, David Moyes there screaming. He's got the 3 fingers up to his players. Let's just see this out. Come on, keep the concentration levels up. Let's just get the players up. The back 4, can you get us up? Creep us up. Let's just see this one out. No more goals conceded.
3-1 West Ham, goal kick for them. Areola, been an absolute hero. A couple of incredible saves late in this second half to deny Brighton. Brighton next week before the international break at home to Newcastle on Friday, of course. They'll find out who's going to be in their group in the Europa League group stages. When they come back from the international break, they will be away to Manchester United. West Ham's next game is a Friday night game, and that's away at Luton. Brighton still coming, last 3 minutes of the game. They now need 2 goals to try and get something out of it. Roberto De Zerbi impassive, hands in pockets, looks on as Lewis Dunk gives the ball away. Jared Bowen inside his own half. Clever pass to Danny Ings. Danny Ings with a lot to do. A tired Adam Webster in front of him. Ings holds it up, plays it back to Ward-Prowse, who got the scoring started in the first half this afternoon. Roberto De Zerbi, from the look of it, actually doesn't believe anymore. Resigned look on his face, shrug of the shoulders, and is headed back to his seat in the dugout. We have about a minute remaining here, and West Ham have won themselves a throw. Brighton 1, West Ham 3. Ward-Prowse in the first half. That came after a mistake from Adam Webster. Fabulous goal, second goal on the counter. Well worth a watch. Match of the day tonight, 10:25 BBC One, which was tucked away by Jared Bowen from the Saeed Benrahma cross, and an equally brilliant finish from Michail Antonio for the third. West Ham top of the league this evening, top of the Premier League table. Areola's clearance brilliantly chested down by Bowen. Bowen lays it off to Sofal. Curling pass down the line for Bowen. Dunk dives in. Bowen skins him. Bowen into the box, lays it off. Here's Fornals, takes one touch, thought about releasing the shot, instead turns, plays it back to Ward-Prowse. West Ham happy to keep it at the moment. Don't want to put the cherry on top of the icing, which is already on that cake. Sofal. And now it's the Olays again, and it's good football from West Ham. We've barely seen them really in terms of possession football, barely played any, but haven't needed to have done the job this evening. Fornals with his left foot, curls one back into the West Ham half. 6 minutes of added time, according to my stopwatch, are up. So we are waiting for Anthony Taylor to blow the full-time whistle and crown West Ham as top of the table. Jared Bowen's been played in for a 4th for West Ham. Great block in the one-on-one by Verbruggen. Benrahma on the rebound, still going Benrahma. 2 defenders in his way. Angle's getting tighter. Webster slides in. The cross comes into the box. And now Brighton have a chance to clear. And there is the full-time whistle. David Moyes shakes hands with Roberto De Zerbi. De Zerbi's shaking his head as if he can't believe that his team haven't scored more goals this afternoon. But a superb job done by West Ham and David Moyes. They win the game by 3-1. Couple of brilliant goals in the second half, and Steve Sidwell, they're top of the table.
Well, West Ham have come. They've surrendered possession. They've had the mindset of the players to be disciplined, to be diligent, and it's been textbook, clinical, counter-attacking football from West Ham. Everyone has put a shift in from that team today. Brighton, they huffed, they puffed, they tried, their philosophy of trying to get goals, but they were outdone today by sheer grit and determination.
6:06 is on the way on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. West Ham celebrating a famous win at the Amex Stadium this evening. They have beaten Brighton by 3-1. Before we hand you over to 6:06 tonight, though, it's straight out to Budapest. The World Athletics Championships.